What's up, everybody? Yeah, so far I'm safe, but I have a bunch of warnings about child stuff and everything in my YouTube thing, which I've already adjusted anyway, so I don't know what the deal is, but I'll have to look at that later. We will see. It is interesting though, but so far so good. The only problems I've had since the 10th is I got suspended on Twitter that one day.
Oh, I left my earbuds upstairs. I have to go get them.
You go do that, John. John is running my board today. Says he doesn't have the energy to fight with me today. So we're going to get along today is what he says. Okie dokie.
At Quicken Loans, our 17,000 team members know that home is so much more than a house. That's because our clients tell us all the time. Hey, this is Jay Farnham, CEO of Quicken Loans, and we want to help you save money on your mortgage with some of the lowest refinancing rates ever. Rates are historically low. You may be able to reduce your rate and save money on your monthly mortgage payment right now. Pay off some credit card debt, or put some money towards that new bathroom or kitchen you've always wanted. The rate today on our 30-year fixed rate mortgage is 3.99%, APR 4.18%. That's right, 3.99%. While we can't predict what will happen in the future, we do know that rates have dropped, and now is the time to save money on your mortgage. Call us today at 800-QUICKEN or go to rocketmortgage.com to learn how refinancing now may be the right mortgage solution for you. That's 800-QUICKEN or go to rocketmortgage.com.
Here we go.
Studios. From the first step to the final phase, industrial and commercial electrical done right. This is Casey Hendrickson on News Talk 95.3, Michiana's News Channel, your breaking news and weather station.
And good afternoon. Thank you for tuning in. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's News Channel. I am your host, Casey Hendrickson. Also live streaming on YouTube and Twitch at Casey the Host. And if you could, give my new Twitter a follow. I've only been suspended one time in the past week since the new account has been up. So we're working on a record here. So you can go to RealCaseyH at RealCaseyH. That is the new Twitter account. The goal by the end of January is to have 1,000 subscribers. I'm just over 300, which is obviously way, way below what it used to be. But it is what it is. I mean, anytime you have a case where you leave a whole platform and you got to start all over again, it's going to be one of those things. Anyway, 574-25-95-95-3. That is 25-95-953. You can also send a text message to 45364. Please put MNC. At the beginning of that message, an assistant principal is suing South Bend schools. I've got a couple of South Bend school stories here over an alleged religious discrimination. Assistant principal for 2 South Bend schools has filed a federal lawsuit against the city school corporation claiming that she has repeatedly been denied job promotions, is paid less, and regularly harassed because of her religion and national origin. Latifa Augiri, I apologize if I wasn't able to get that correct, filed a lawsuit on Tuesday with the U.S. District Court of Northern Indiana against South Bend's Community School Corporation. She's a Muslim woman, originally from Morocco, and has been employed with South Bend schools for 22 years, currently works as an itinerant assistant principal for Marquette, Montessori, and Monroe elementary schools. Her lawsuit says that she has applied for a principal position with the school corporation 3 times since 2016. Now, keep in mind, she's been with South Bend schools for 22 years. It's not like she's new. The last time being July 2018, she was denied the position each time, and the job was awarded each time to a less qualified candidate, according to the lawsuit. Now, that is subjective. We don't know exactly if those were less qualified candidates. They could very well be more qualified candidates, or they could be as qualified candidates, and maybe their personalities are a little bit better with the kids or what have you. I don't know all of the circumstances. I'm just telling you what her lawsuit says. She also claims that she is being paid less than at least one other assistant principal with less experience, according to the lawsuit, and is, quote, harassed by members of the school community because of her religion and national origin. Now, this one I find interesting because there's a guy running for president who's got a Moroccan name, right? No, not Morocco. Is Pete Buttigieg Moroccan? No, that's not Moroccan. It's the other one. Never mind. Just forget I said that. It's another one. It's not Morocco. I apologize. So anyway, she says that she has complained of harassment and disciplinary treatment to the superintendent, was told to, quote, get a thicker skin, according to the lawsuit. In April 2018, she filed an internal complaint, claims that the school corporation did not address the complaint. The lawsuit does not name the superintendent, but Kenneth Spells held the role during the time described in the complaint. Of course, not there anymore. Todd Cummings became the district superintendent in July. Prior to his new role, Cummings was hired in 2017, served as a human resource director for a year. Okay. So, not saying that she's right, not saying she's wrong, just letting you know that that is happening. And in the meantime, South Bend schools, one of the things that we were talking about when this Red for Ed thing happened, one of the things I kept running into was teachers who did not know about the educational funding increase in the last budget, which is a 2.5% increase each year for the two-year budget. Remember, they do a 2-year budget. And teachers also didn't seem to know that $130 some odd million was taken out of the rainy day fund specifically to boost teacher salaries in Indiana. And they weren't aware of that. And one of the responses that I was getting from them is, well, my pay hasn't gone up. And they were probably right, because this was up to the independent school districts to apply that money. And Penn did it right before the Red for Ed thing. There's Mishawaka, I think, did it. And a lot of school districts hadn't applied that money yet for various reasons. Okay, I'm not saying it's nefarious or they're doing anything wrong. I'm just letting you know that it was purely on the school districts to be able to apply that money to salaries, how they saw fit. But a lot of people didn't realize that the governor and the legislature in Indiana had prioritized educational funding, and that educational funding is nearly half the budget. So a ton of money goes into education as a percentage of what we spend budgetary-wise in Indiana. And there was this, huge increase, 2.5% each year, okay? If you go back to when Pence took office, there is $4 billion more in education funding than when he came in, all right, from that first budget. So anyway, South Bend area teachers are getting pay raises as push to boost education funding continues. And again, if you look at education funding in Indiana, Indiana is better than the majority of the country, but they are almost in the middle, okay, just slightly above most of the country when it comes to education funding. They are 38th in teacher salaries. That is something that has to be addressed, at least somewhat. Now, some of you, okay, they don't work all year round. Some teachers don't. Some teachers do. They get extra time off, that sort of thing. And there's a discrepancy in some school systems with younger teachers versus older teachers. And the older teachers, as we all know, get paid a lot more, and that helps boost their retirement, that sort of thing. So there's various things that we can obviously discuss about that. I can only give you the averages, okay? So every time I bring this up, I get swarmed with text messages and emails about this. I can just give you the averages because I'm not going to sit here and break down gobs of data. We don't have one district here. We have lots of districts here, and we cover a lot of municipalities, so I can't just break down one place. I try to occasionally when I get an opportunity, but it's not something that I can do in general. So what I can tell you is that Indiana funds their education pretty darn good. They don't pay their teachers very well compared to the rest of the country on average. It doesn't mean that there aren't a lot of districts that pay their teachers very well, and it doesn't mean that there aren't teachers that make a lot of money. All I can tell you is the averages, and the average is the state of Indiana is about 20th in the country for educational funding, which is good, and they're 38th in the country for teacher salaries, which is not so good. Okay? That's all I can do is tell you that information. Most of the city's school teachers will get $500 added onto their base salaries after the South Bend School Board approved a new contract with the local teachers union on Monday this week. The agreement will raise the starting base pay for the corporation's teachers from $38,500 to $39,000. That is the starting base pay. Okay? I have to say this again because there's always somebody here's part of it, and they send me off some screed. That is the starting base pay. The 2019-2020 salary range for teachers will now be between $39,000 and roughly $75,000 a year. Yes, there are some who make about $75K a year, which is a darn good salary. Okay? Teachers eligible for the salary increase must be rated effective or highly effective and have been employed for at least 4 months. All right, so you've got to be doing at least somewhat well at your job. Anybody really have a problem with that? I know that there's some people who have a problem with that, but nobody should actually have a problem with that. The agreement also calls for all teachers with 1 to 5 years of experience to receive graduated salary increases from $1,000 to $1,500. Remember, the reason I said the other one being just $500, and some of you are rolling your eyes already, that is the starting base pay. Okay, you have to have 4 months experience. The starting base pay to be able to get that. Everybody else, start moving along. Teachers with 1 to 5 years can get $1,000 to $1,500. All certified teachers who complete the 2019-2020 school year will also get, all certified teachers, everybody will also get a $750 stipend. This is what I was talking about when the Red for Ed thing was going on, and I kept running into people who were yelling at me at various points about this, that they did not realize the educational funding that had happened in the legislature that was pushed by the governor, by the way. You remember his wife is an educator. And it also did not include, a lot of people had no idea that we dipped into the rainy day fund, over $100 million to put this money, give teachers pay. And it may not be everything that you want, and it never is, right? It doesn't matter how much you get paid. You always want more. And there's nothing wrong with wanting more, especially if you're worth more. But if you are one of those teachers who didn't know all of these things, and I had a lot of them go, oh, well, I didn't hear about that. I know. Not a lot of people were telling you about it. It's important that you know. It doesn't mean that it's going to meet all of your requirements of what you think you're worth. It's just you should know that there has been some progress there and that you're getting a pay increase that's coming here shortly. But the school district's got to give it to you. And the school district, of course, now they're doing it. Different districts are doing it on a different timeline. I don't know why. I'm not making any accusations. I'm just letting you know it's up to the districts to do that. So it's nothing to sneeze at. It really isn't. Teachers who have 1 to 5 years experience can get $1,000, $1,500. If you got 4 months experience, you get $500 as long as you're rated well. And everybody who finishes the 2020 school year will get $750. Pretty darn cool, if you ask me. Raising the base salary was important, but this agreement really allows us to help everyone out. That is Linda Lucy, Teachers Union President. A lot of our 1 to 5 year teachers don't get paid well enough anywhere in the nation, especially South Bend. Yeah, and you could say that the 5 year thing is, that's a gap. 1 year and 5 years are miles apart for experience, if you ask me. But they lump them in there, and they do that for negotiating reasons, and they're just doing the best for what they can do. The Mishawaka School Board also improved the increased base pay for the corporation's teachers by $1,200 to $39,200. Teacher salaries now average from $39,200 to roughly $69,800. So we talked about that when Mishawaka did that. They go into Penn and all of the other ones here locally that have also been doing that. Okay, just so everybody's well aware. All right, 574-2595, 95.3 coming up next. I know you're all shocked. People are not happy with the leaf pickup program in St. Joseph County again. We'll talk about that. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel.
Michiana's news channel.
All right, into the chat. I did not get the sweater, and no, I don't need a board op. Joe's just out today, so John's covering.
Sorry.
Thank you, Kathy, for the compliment on the hat. For the record, I had a coworker tell me once that this hat is a really weird conversation. Tell me once that this hat made me look both smart and tough at the same time. And then later on that day, my wife, who doesn't like me in hats, said that the hat looked good on me. Isn't that weird? And that was like the same day. So it's weird. For some reason, people really dig this hat. I'm glad that everybody digs this hat because I've been struggling to find a good hat. But it is $12 at the old Big R, and it's authentic Cryptek, licensed and everything. They have a Spartan logo one and some other stuff, but I dug this one because it was gray. So YouTube did not give you notifications today. Oh, I'm shocked, Amit. Shocked. Let's see. Maltese. Thank you, Mike. That's what I was thinking of. I knew Moroccan wasn't right. I'm struggling today. So I've had one of those mind-numbing days where you're running around doing a bunch of the remedial, stupid crap that we all have to do to register our cars and stuff. And it's just been one of those days. So haven't gotten a lot of food in me. Have probably too much coffee, but we'll continue to have more. I mean, John and I are both starving in the studio right now. But I don't know that any place actually delivers food that we can eat. To be honest, I'm not really sure. Why isn't there a meat-only delivery service?
Here.
It shouldn't be that hard.
Located in South Bend, just east of Ironwood on Iron Road, and Mishawaka off Edison Road. Open 7:30 a.m. to 7:30 p.m. 7 days a week. And this holiday season is
had an outlaw burn amnesty last weekend. Yeah.
Discount coupon books priced at buy 5 washes, get 3 free. Enough for you to have something yourself and all those people on your list.
Did you hear about the company who split $10 million between his 200 employees as a bonus? No, I didn't. One guy got $275,000 for a bonus.
Keep your car happy and clean this holiday season.
I have not worked for a lot of companies that do the bonus thing. So, I mean, I've had some companies, and I think we used to do like a turkey thing or something back in the day, John? Where we'd do like a turkey thing for the holidays. Didn't we used to do something like that? I haven't really worked for anybody who does like the big holiday bonuses or anything like that. Have you?
Oh, yeah, we did do turkeys.
We used to do turkeys, right?
Yeah, and Christmas trees. We did Christmas trees.
You did Christmas trees too? I don't remember the Christmas trees. Yeah, I've never really worked for a place that has the Christmas bonus thing, but that's pretty cool. That they had $10 million and they said, "Hey, let's split it with everybody." That's awesome. I mean, hopefully they don't go bankrupt next year because they needed $10 million. I hope that doesn't happen, but yeah, that would be great. I got a bonus in the Marine Corps, huh? The guy had been there for only a few days, got $100. That's cool. So I assume it was based on position and tenure and everything. That's neat, though. That's really neat. Extra guard duty on Christmas. Nice. That's your bonus. I work for a company that does the bonus thing, and it's horrible to justify paying you a lower hourly wage because of the bonus. Yeah, you can't do that. Ideally, the bonus would be based on your performance, I guess, that year, or if you had a particularly good year and you have some extra profits and you want to share it, ideally it would be based on that. Not every company is in a position to do that, but then the other argument is we should probably put that in the bank so we don't go out of business next year. There's nothing wrong with that either.
Beauty and the Beast only runs until the end of December at Amish.
Yeah, modest cash bonus. That's good.
To see it with your family for 50% off.
As far as I know, the YouTube stream is not down. You guys are mostly yapping on YouTube, so it doesn't appear to be down.
Once or twice new this week.
Yes, it'll be new this week, and then I'll let them know that I'll be on vacation for the next 2. We were talking about Monterey. All right, here we go.
Beatty, all the details first thing Friday morning on 95.3 MNC.
Some people are already sending me messages and saying that they had an authorized leaf burn here recently in St. Joseph County. This has been a boondoggle from the very beginning. So I guess they're done. Somebody said that they're done doing the pickup now. So here's a letter to the editor for the South Bend Tribune. By the way, thank you for tuning in. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel. Phone number, 574-2595-95.3. That's 2595953. Text messaging at 45364. Again, please put MNC at the beginning of that. You can follow me on Twitter on the new account at RealKCH. Then you can also watch the live stream at YouTube or Twitch at Casey the Host. You can listen to the 95.3 MNC app, which is totally free in your app store or on the 953mnc.com website or really any of the other streaming services. All right. Letter to the editor on the leaf pickup. Today is December 2nd, and the St. Joseph County leaf pickup program was another disaster. How many years have we been screwing this up now? 5 or 6? They haven't got it right yet? The Kern Road corridor and streets north and south between Old US 31 and Miami Road in Center Township still have piles of leaves waiting to be collected. Maybe these piles of leaves are an early start for 2020, as we had first pickup in mid to late October. Around November 10th, the truck came through again for a second pass and then done for the year. Now, the past 2 years that I can remember, and I'm sure it goes back further than that, but the past 2 years that I can remember, they started picking up the leaves before any leaves had fallen down. And then I think it was 3 years ago, they were going to pick up the leaves, but we had that early snowstorm. So then the leaves were all frozen. Oh, my gosh. Of course, the first year was the worst year because we had the entire winter at the house that I was living at when I lived by the UP Mall. We had everybody on the road had these massive piles of leaves in the street. Because we were supposed to put them in the street. We couldn't put them on our yard. And then they were told us to move them to the yard so they weren't blocking traffic because all of a sudden you had 1 lane instead of 2 lanes. You had to snake it around. It was one of those things. Then we put it on the yard, and then it killed like 3 to 4 feet of my lawn. John's nodding his head yes because John was there too.
Oh, I could tell you.
I'm sure. Well, you live in a forested area too, right?
No, it's not so bad, but a couple things. Number one, I'm pretty sure my neighborhood had a organized, unauthorized leaf burn about 2 weekends ago.
I don't blame them.
Yeah, because a lot
even in hoity-toity Granger.
I mean, yes, even in hoity-toity Granger, because I mean, it's just unacceptable for leaf piles to sit in front of your house for months on end.
No, you can't.
I mean, it's Granger after all.
Yeah, you can't let. It's unseemly.
Yeah, so I gave up putting my leaves on my lawn because the truck
just destroys it.
It kills the lawn.
Yeah,
and that's not accepted in Granger either.
Right.
So, and by the way, neither are dandelions in the springtime, but
very true.
Yeah, they stop in Mishawaka.
And
right
you're
at the
already
border.
on very thin line with your neighbors anyway.
Yes, I know. I'm barely allowed.
He made the mistake of taking the company vehicle home.
I know, and oh my gosh. So, so I don't put my leaves on the grass anymore because the truck just doesn't come and doesn't come and doesn't come, and so it kills the grass. So I put it all on the street. And then what's happened the past 3 or 4 years is the snow happens early, and then the county says, well, we can't do it anymore because, the leaves are frozen, so we'll see you in March. So this year, we took our leaves, and instead of putting it in front of our house, we put it in front of our neighbor's house.
Oh, good for you.
Well, because they had already raked their leaves anyway.
Okay.
And what happens... anyway, is when we rake our leaves and they rake their leaves, the way the wind blows, all their leaves are going to end up back in my yard anyway.
Are these the neighbors that really don't like who you work for?
Most of my neighbors really don't like me, just in
it's
general. It doesn't
totally
matter if I worked here or at Walmart.
Totally
it's just not liking me.
Glad you did that to them.
Yeah, so we put them all into my neighbor's leaf pile across the street. We had that windstorm a couple weeks ago. A lot of them blew back into my yard, but it was not a big deal. I mean, I raked them up. I got it all done within an hour. Moved them all back to their side of the street. Re-cleaned up my yard last weekend. The truck did come, by the way. It did come and pick up our leaves. I was shocked. In fact, my wife sent me a video of it. I was at work, and she sent me a video of it. She's like, oh, my gosh.
It's like Sasquatch. Oh, my God, they came.
Yeah, it was like the Christmas miracle. It's like Jesus being reborn all over again. I mean, seriously, it was just that crazy.
Well, and then they changed the name of the company. I even got caught with this with an article because I'd forgotten that they changed the name of the company. And I was like, wait a minute, did they hire a new company?
Wait,
and
was it not Green World or did Green World?
Well, it's the same company, but they changed their name.
Oh,
is what
okay,
it is.
yeah.
And because I told people before when they had the bidding thing and they finally opened it up for bidding, I was like, okay, this is a positive step. And then I actually talked with owners of other companies, and they're like, here's what happened. They opened it up for bidding, and then they wouldn't tell us where everything was or how much real estate and what the amount of leaves, the volume of leaves that we're going to have to do. So we couldn't actually bid. So they lied to everybody and told everybody it was open bidding, but they didn't give us the information to be able to bid. The only company who had it was Green World or whatever it is.
Yeah, Green World.
And who now changed their name. So they were the only ones able to do the bid, because if they did the bid blind, they could lose money. So there's no reason for them to even apply for the contract.
I'm actually a pretty reasonable person, and I don't have a lot of peculiar tendencies, but, this whole thing about, leaf collection kind of really makes me a white redneck guy.
Yeah.
Because, it just really makes me angry.
Well,
So,
look, they have these smokeless burners now.
I
These
do
things are
my
really
part,
neat.
and we don't burn. We have a child with asthma, so, that's never really been an option for us. But
Yeah, but not, she's gone now. You can do it now.
well,
She's away at
but
school
we're not in
now.
the habit, and,
Well, but they do have these new burn barrels, okay? And you can buy them or you can make them, and there's almost no smoke. They burn so hot, there's almost no smoke. They're awesome. They're phenomenal, but you pay way more. It's not $20 at Rural King to pick up a burn barrel. You got to actually pay like $100 for these things.
fairly certain, though, a couple weeks ago that my neighbors did have an unauthorized group burn ban because there was just a lot of smoke above Granger. I thought, Mrs.
be.
Brown's cow, came to
be.
Granger.
Well, David continues his letter. The county commissioners did taxpayers no favors once again. I would propose that the county gurus have President Donald Trump come to South Bend and renegotiate the pickup contract. The taxpayers might get a reduction in cost and, more importantly, a better cleanup of our roadsides. My leaves came down the last 3 weeks of November. I can only call this leaf pickup program a license to steal. Guess who's laughing all the way to the bank? Yeah, it's still a mess, but what are you gonna do? You got a bunch of them. Republicans too. Remember talking about the county? Got a bunch of those Republicans out there. I don't like smelling smoke. They got the little pinky up in the air and their nose all snubbed up in the air. I don't like smelling smoke. Okay, don't smell it. Dork, close your windows. We got more coming up. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's News Channel.
This is Michiana's breaking news and weather station. MNC.
Yeah, I just raked them all into my neighbors because I'm like, I'm not doing this.
Screw them, John. Good for you. We're moving on.
My neighbors were not very happy. Okay, I'm not going to answer myself. I know what they're going to talk about.
There are some things the Elkhart police do well and some areas that need improvement. The review was
Yep.
announced in the wake of
We're during a news break. You can do it.
The suspect was physically assaulted by an officer. Police Chief Chris Snyder says that incident affected the review.
I can tell you that I have looked that over and that we have made some changes internally.
I'm providing a community service to the business.
To help prevent something like
Tell
I
them.
didn't even know the coffee machine was broken.
Well,
Did you
yeah.
get my email? I'm Susan Anderson.
Oh, no, I didn't get it yet. Sorry.
I was literally online trying to find the mini cake brewer that
Oh,
was
yeah.
on my desk.
I'm gonna
When you
leave.
sent
Yeah,
it out.
I'm gonna leave that one in there. I'll probably
Yeah, when
have
did
it
it
on
break?
one. Huh?
Almost a month ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Well, it broke for a little bit. Then they had it fixed for like a week, and then it broke again.
Oh, I had no
And
idea.
yeah, it's been about a month.
Oh, I actually never heard a word about it until today.
You
Yeah.
must not be a copy.
Yeah.
I'm
We've
not.
all been talking
I'm
about
not.
it. No, he sucks down.
But I pretty much take matters into my own hands anyway. If the coffee machine broke, I'll just go buy my own.
Well, that's
Some of us can't leave in the middle of our shows, John.
Oh my God, like I can. Casey,
I
if
don't
I could
have-
go do that, I'd go get
but I don't have any more plugs, so there's no plug to put it.
Oh,
So
yeah. And some of the little single serve ones that are around the office, they don't taste very good.
So are they going to have
the
two?
coffee only came up to here.
What?
So are they going to have two coffee stations, like one right outside the?
No, I think they're moving that one to here
Oh.
when Toccoa starts,
And then
which
what's
will
going
be
to go
good.
down there?
I don't know.
Well, I believe the sales managers are
Yeah, just do that.
taking it into their own hands and they're buying one as well.
Usually, I'll go with 10 and strong brew on that. Is usually what I'll do.
Well, I do know I got an email from Steph that said she had no clue that it wasn't working and she's ordered one.
Well, I was ranting to my husband yesterday morning about this is such bullshit. We haven't had coffee in weeks. What do those poor jocks do? They get in at 4 in the morning. They gotta have
Now,
coffee.
see, and I drink Diet Mountain Dew, so I've never actually drank coffee in my life. I've never once tasted it. It smells delicious though.
Oh yeah.
But I'm not really into warm liquids, you know. It's like I was never a soup guy. I was never. You know what? Call me crazy. I was never
Back
a hot
on the
chocolate.
warm liquid thing.
Never. Shut up. I was never a
Okay.
hot chocolate guy, and I was never a soup guy.
So
Though,
do you eat gazpacho? Is that cold soup?
no, I don't like that stuff either. But I do like broccoli cheese soup. I do like French onion soup, and I'll eat chicken soup if I'm not feeling well. Because it does seem that kind of helps.
Yeah.
Clears up my sinuses. For some strange reason.
Damn it, John. Seriously, dude.
Well, thank
What?
you very
You got my
much.
stuff. My pleasure. As long as we're during commercial break.
Yeah, at least the studio smells nice.
I am so friggin' hungry right now.
Why are you blaming me for that?
Because you talked about being, I'm used to
I
starving.
have a sub sandwich I'm not eating.
No, it's okay. Thank
You
you.
can have it.
It's okay. Thank you.
Thursday closing farm market.
Usually I'm used to starving, but you being hungry is amplifying my
Well,
hunger.
you know what's funny?
I'm
wasn't
like, I really
hungry-
want something.
wasn't hungry until Joe called me and said he couldn't make it in. And then
Well,
suddenly
it's
I was
because now all of a
starving.
sudden you're trapped, right?
Yeah, because
Can't
now
go
I'm
anywhere.
trapped. I'm like a prisoner.
Oh,
A captive prisoner. In fact, I'm like a hostage.
Yeah, that seems apt.
Up 6.5, 3
All right.
Quarters up 6.25 on May.
Yeah, it all went south for me the day I drove the station vehicle. Seriously.
No, I'm not surprised. I'm really not. That's why I told you, like, I'm not going to drive it in my neighborhood because I know my neighborhood is probably not. My old neighborhoods were, yeah, they loved it. God, they found out who I was and they were like, oh my God.
Oh, yeah, no, people immediately stopped talking to me. It's like,
It's so
seriously?
funny. That's so funny.
I know. Very childish. Can't we all just get along? Hey, did you hear about this Ring camera hacker? The guy who...
Did I or did I not just tell you when you were in the studio that Ring got hacked again?
Oh, did you?
Yes.
Oh.
So yes, John, I've heard about it.
Okay.
No, they've been breached several times this year.
Since 3 a.m. At 3:30, I was on an
get it.
elliptical machine, and I
get
did
it.
2.5 miles. What
Yeah.
were you doing at 3:30 in the morning?
What was
Because
I
I'm
doing?
pretty sure
I
it
was
wasn't-
probably going to bed.
Well, I
At
was on an
3:30 in the
elliptical
morning.
machine, and I did 2.5 miles, and then
Good
I
for
came
you.
in and did a morning show.
Good for you. I'm considering getting that Bowflex HVT.
Yeah.
It's $800,
Yeah.
but it seems to have stood up. It used to be $1,800, but now it's $800.
Ooh.
And the reviews on it are really good. Watched a couple of videos with it. They seem to really like it. Casey, if Bob from accounting says, Casey, if John is a hostage, what are you going to ransom him for? I don't know. How many goats do you have?
Bob from accounting.
Yep, Bob from accounting.
I am a hostage and call HR.
That's a hell of a name, though.
Hey guys, good news. The expensive Little Blue Pill is now generic.
I just logged on. Who is John? John is the program director. He's just covering for Joe today. Let's see.
And I apologize.
That's really good news. To start your free online visit, go to this exclusive address.
John just put a Trump sign on the edge of their property and yours. It is a neighborly bonding tactic. I read about it in Cosmo. That would be so funny if you did that.
That's actually not a bad idea.
Let's see.
As I see it, there's just one small potential problem with this beautiful reality.
People even stopped waving at me. I mean, they're like when they drive down the street and you're, in front of your house, putting down mulch
I'm
or
not
something.
surprised at all.
I know they literally stopped. I mean, and it was drastic. It was like a drastic sudden shift. It was like a cold wind from the north.
Wait, what the heck are those people doing in that video you posted on Twitter, Alex? What are they doing?
What? Whoa.
What are they taking pictures of? They taking pictures of people's notes?
When you're diagnosed with metastatic breast cancer, a million
You can't
questions
do
flood
that.
your mind. How can this be happening? Am I going to be able to work? What's a subtype? What do I do now? We know. We went through it too. But once you start to understand,
Holy moly.
you can partner with your doctor.
Democrats are left.
Both on your own terms.
Visit findyournbcvoice.com and learn how to speak up and have more.
All right, I've got the 9 most evil people of 2019, and I didn't make the list.
Find your NBC voice
Oh, and my Call screen. Is your call screener? Does it show the lines?
Up and on.
Is it showing the lines though?
Let's see. 1, 2, 3. Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna. Oh, so you only got 3 lines.
Well, I usually only have 3 lines.
Yes, Taylor.
I just had a listener call about the lease pickup program. And
So they called you?
Yes.
Well, you told me you were switching topics, so I didn't answer the phone.
Okay.
She said that basically they should pick up by townships. Then leaf companies should bid on the township. Because there's so many.
Yeah, they should.
Yeah, there shouldn't be one company that does it. 100%.
And she was like, so they should bid on townships they want, and then we can get other leaves picked up. And I'm like,
100% agree with you.
I know. Whoever that woman is should be running the world.
But also known as common sense, damn it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, they should be doing that.
Yeah, because I live in the city, but they're like, you can't burn leaves. You should know it's Elkhart,
Uh-huh. Although I was impressed because it's the first time I've experienced a city's pickup program, and Elkhart impressed me.
Mm-hmm.
Get all of your cars off of the street. They brought bulldozers and everything else and leaf blowers. They blew it all in the street. Bulldozers took it away.
Mm-hmm.
They were done in 20 minutes.
See, ours been standing about in our road for about 2 weeks now.
They're still there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I hope they get them before Monday.
Yeah, I
because
do
Monday
too.
we're supposed to have several inches of snow, and then they'll say after that, they'll be like,
But
March.
our street, though, is you could, like we literally raked Sunday, Monday, it looked like we didn't even do anything.
Oh, yeah. No, well, I'm like that, too. I cleaned up my yard last weekend, and I do have a neighbor who doesn't rake their leaves. Their program is to just let the wind blow them all into my yard.
Oh, yeah.
So I have all their leaves in my yard.
Now, we look like that neighbor, but just because our neighbors around us are like, we're going to do it every day.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Well, thank you for the info. I appreciate it.
Yeah. No problem.
And good afternoon. Thank you for tuning in. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel. So Taylor just came in, and I meant to tell everybody what happened when they took my leaves in Elkhart. My first time experiencing Elkhart leaf pickup. Listener called Taylor up front because I guess we weren't doing it anymore, and said that really you should have different companies just bidding on the township, and then every township will have their own company, and they won't get overwhelmed. Things won't get delayed. They can go out. They can take care of it. And again, seems like a pretty easy thing to do. But somebody somewhere is getting a nice little kickback to have one company handle it all. Do I have any proof of that? No. But let's be honest. We know what's going on. So anyway, in Elkhart, we got a notice. Get your cars out of the street. On this day, we're coming to your neighborhood. And this is not county. This is city. And so we got our cars off of the road. They showed up. They had leaf blowers going on either side of the road, blowing leaves from the sidewalks and everything into the street. And they had a bulldozer go, took them all. That was it. They were gone like 20 minutes. Whole street, done. It was amazing. Never seen anything like it. So they just had these big leaf trucks at the end of the road, and they just went ahead and used the tractors to go and push it to the end. And they put them up in the trucks and took them away. That was it. Super quick, super easy. It seems like everybody around St. Joseph County has figured this out. And there's only one place. Why is it that every time we have something that's figured out, the one place that doesn't have it figured out resides in St. Joseph County, John? Why is that? Why do you think that is? I mean, sometimes it's not county fault, sometimes it's city fault. I'm just saying it's kind of interesting that there's always a problem with St. Joseph County, not a problem with the surrounding areas. Anyway. All right, 574-2595, 95.3. That is 2595-953. Can also send a text message to 45364. Please put MNC at the beginning of that message. The 9 most evil people of 2019, according to Ethan Huff. He writes for DCDirtyLaundry.com. Pencil neck Adam Schiff and his impeachment crusade. So Adam Schiff made the list. Next, we have Tim Cook and his anti-free speech crusade. Tim Cook under, ever since he took over Apple is, let's be honest, we all knew that Apple was going to struggle the moment anybody took it over. And that's exactly what has happened. Let's see. Earlier this year, Apple News stopped publishing Natural News articles for supposedly violating the company's terms of service. Natural News has been one of the outlets that's been attacked as being a purveyor of misleading articles. With Cook at the helm, Apple has also donated millions of dollars to the Southern Poverty Law Center. And let's be honest, Southern Poverty Law Center is, in fact, a hate group. Hypocrite Jack Dorsey and his censorship agenda. He's the head honcho over at Twitter. Let's be perfectly honest. I don't think anybody disputes that, right? Jack Dorsey's trying to pretend I don't think Jack is in charge of everything. I really don't. I think that Jack is just kind of there making tons of money and is a figurehead. I don't think he's actually running the day-to-day operations or is even involved in the day-to-day operations anymore. So a lot of times these things happen, and Jack is just, he's the guy that has to deal with the fallout from it. Then you have James Comey and his destruction of the criminal justice system. By the way, who did this? I got to pull this up. Hold on a second. Somebody did a whole thread of all of the lies that James Comey has been caught saying, and it's glory. Oh, no, it was Adam Schiff. It wasn't James Comey. Never mind. So they did a whole thread on the lies of Adam Schiff, which, they're basically the same thing. Let's see. Hillary Clinton, head of the Clinton family crime cartel. Obviously, this is a biased article. I'm just throwing it out there. She's a human plague with no known cure, who, like James Comey, has yet to face the music of her countless criminal acts, including the time that she pressured Ronan Farrow to cover up for pedophile and rapist Harvey Weinstein, who hit that $25 million settlement here this week. Yeesh. Jeffrey Epstein and the Lolita Express child trafficking scheme. Jeff Bezos, who is being called here as a surveillance creep and Amazon monopoly. Robot Mike Zuckerberg and his oppressive Facebook platform. And then you have Sundar Pichai and his Google takeover of planet Earth. Yeah, I mean, not an awful list. And you're catching a theme here. A lot of big tech is on that list. And obviously this is coming from a right-winger's perspective. A lot of big tech on that list. And as we go forward trying to navigate the waters of where big tech is going to take us and what that might look like and how freedoms might be infringed upon, this is going to continue to be a theme and a problem because big tech is now, of course, big tech's argument is you voluntarily gave those things up, so it's your fault. They may have a point, to be perfectly honest, at least to an extent. But a lot of people don't realize how ingrained big tech really is in a lot of these things, nor how influenced they are by foreign governments and foreign officials, which impact our daily lives also. So not a bad list overall. I don't know that I would call all of these people evil. There's certainly some other evil people out there that got one of them that was just disappeared here not too long ago as a result of a dog. But, it is what it is. So take it or leave it. We got more coming up. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel.
Casey Hendrickson.
News Talk.
No. There we go. Hey, Tracy, how you doing? Well, that weirded me out a little bit. And I'm coming back from vacation to do it.
It's like giving 3 gifts: breakfast, lunch, and dinner. But really, it's the gift of a night out. It's the gift of a reason to go out. And best of all, it's an absolutely fantastic meal at the Prime table. A gift certificate to the Prime table fits in the stocking. But let's face it, it's under the tree.
We need a steak cart. Have you had that Caracas place?
No.
I haven't either. And somebody sent me a message the other day and said, how the hell do you not eat there every day? It's apparently really, really good.
What's it called?
Caracas?
Where's this at?
It's literally right across the street. And it's the building right here.
Oh, okay. I know.
Yeah, it's got like the white and black sign on the side of the building. Yeah,
no,
it's apparently super, super good.
Schedule a test drive at any time. We're happy to help in person at any point. The fast track is only at LockMoney.com. Shop new Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, GMC, Buick, Chevy, and
Ooh, Ichabod Golden Dragon. I like them, and they deliver in snowstorms.
Casey.
They do? They were so happy when I ordered.
We've talked about it. You made people deliver you food in a major snowstorm.
I called them up and said, look, I realize this is a long shot, but... And they go, no, we're open. Thank you so much for the business. They were super happy about it.
You should be ashamed of yourself.
The only reason they're even still open is because of my family, John. They might have closed down if I didn't have food.
You should have gone to get the food.
I couldn't.
Why not?
Because we didn't have a car that would get through that snowstorm.
You should have walked.
We were trapped. Literally trapped. That was a fun topic, though. Are we horrible people for making him come out in that? They're calling it Portillo's hot dogs. Is that
Who's calling it Portillo's?
Portillo's hot dogs.
Oh my gosh.
Sun Services is your local independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer.
Their Italian beef is pretty good.
A family business gives you the ability to treat your employees like family and your customers like family. And we want to continue to give to our customers. We're able to do that.
Do Portillo's? My stomach is getting really angry. 237, right? West Edison.
Or maybe it's the second mortgage to replace it. Either way, check out Elkhart Betting. At Elkhart Betting, we don't have financing available. By eliminating the minimum, Elkhart Betting sells quality two-sided cooking food type that's factory direct. Save you up to half of what a national brand costs. Get the most bet for your money. Factory direct at Elkhart Betting. Find out more at ElkhartBetting.com.
Through the Next Level Roads plan, the Indiana Department of Transportation is investing more than $60 billion in maintaining Indiana's highways over the next 20 years to keep our economy moving and make your drive safer and smoother. Do your part to keep everyone safe.
What do you want for Portillo's, man? You want some ribs or something?
No, I'm good. That stuff's expensive.
Portillo's?
I think so.
And visit nextlevelroads.com.
$12.50 for a half slab. It's not that bad. The ribs.
Yeah, but is it a real half slab or is it a...
I don't know. I've never had their ribs over there. I'm just trying to not give you carbs.
Yes, I do, Mike. I need some emergency beef jerky. Of course, Mike on the live stream makes amazing beef jerky. Fantastic stuff. 574-2595-95.3. That is 2595953. So the attack on the kosher market in Jersey City is officially being labeled as a hate crime and domestic terrorism today, which we already knew, but it's official today. And did you see that amazing video of that female police officer who came and saved her partner? I mean, just a absolutely amazing video. And, you know, again, in one of those cases where a lot of the heroes of these types of events kind of get washed away in talking about what actually happened and talking about the suspects and everything, it's important that you watch what she did because she saved his life. Rashida Tlaib has been forced to delete a tweet again for blaming white supremacy for the attack on the kosher market in Jersey City. Because why not? That's just kind of how things are nowadays. Immediately rush to judgment and throw a narrative out there. But here's the thing. It's our fault because this happens with media and it happens with social media every time there's some event that happens. The same people are blamed every time it happens. It's always an AR-15, even if it isn't. It's always the NRA, even though the NRA's never had any involvement in any of these. It's always conservatives, always Republicans. It's always some white guy, probably Christian. You go down the line. It's always the same thing. And it almost never ends up being those things. But we as a society continue to fall for that crap. Not all of us, I'm certainly not speaking to all of you, but in broad terms, we continue to fall for that crap and go out there and spread it every time an event happens, even though we know that it's going to probably be retracted. But the people who are political leaders, prominent members of the media who do it on a regular basis, they're never really called to task. Nobody ever holds them accountable for doing these sorts of things. So when Rashida Tlaib consistently goes out there and does this stuff and says these things, there's no real punishment that comes with that. I'm not saying she should be thrown in jail or anything like that, but people just continue to support her no matter what. Oh, okay, whatever. Well, it wasn't white supremacy. Yeah, so what? She jumped to conclusions and she slandered an entire group of people for no reason whatsoever when she didn't have any information. But, she's still my girl. So she says, this is heartbreaking. White supremacy kills. That's what she tweeted out. She deleted it. David Anderson, who described by law enforcement sources as on Wednesday as a follower of the Black Hebrew Israelites and introduced girlfriend and accomplice Francine Graham to their beliefs. A former friend and neighbor in New Jersey told the New York Post about all of this. Of course, their pictures were released, and they don't look like white supremacists. Although I suppose that there are some crazy people out there who do say that white supremacists can not be white. Andy No, who's a real journalist, confirmed photos of the Jersey City shooters have been released. They were followers of the black nationalist anti-Semitic sect, the Black Hebrew Israelites. They killed one officer before launching an attack at a kosher market that killed 3 more. But, of course, they screenshot everything as Rashida Tlaib went out there and said that it was white supremacy. And the thing is that when you look at the numbers, it isn't whites who commit the vast majority of anti-Semitic hate crimes in the United States. It's not. I don't need to tell you who it is. I'm just telling you it's not white people. Okay? And that's according to the federal data. But that's the narrative that is pushed by people like Rashida Tlaib. By the way, her buddy, Ocasio-Cortez today, telling everybody to vote for Jeremy Corbyn, who's a known anti-Semite in the UK. Even the New York Times today has an article about why are people pushing to vote for this guy. And then the Washington Post was talking about Jewish voters in the UK uneasy about this vote because he is who he is. He's on tape. And for some reason, as long as you're in the tribe, this is where tribalism is so dangerous, not just here, but everywhere else. For some reason, as long as you're in my tribe, I will excuse and forgive your hateful rhetoric, your discrimination of these people, even if they're supposed to be aligned with us. I will excuse it because at least you're my guy and you're not the other guy. It's like this, the New York Times also ran an article about how Donald Trump was making Judaism a nationality. It's not. That's not what the executive order is about at all. It's actually completely in line with what the Obama administration was trying to do. It was just extending protections that were done under the previous administration to also include people of the Jewish faith. That's all it did. But the New York Times ran with this whole thing. And so then that led to people going, oh, now I'm going to have to wear a Juden star now. It had nothing to do with the executive order whatsoever. Why? Because they have been fed this garbage that Donald Trump is somehow anti-Semitic. And I know firsthand because I've got a relative who's not particularly bright who said the same thing during the last election. How can you guys support this guy? He's anti-Semitic and you're part Jewish. Because he's not, and you're dumb. That's why. So, yes, I talk to my relatives that way, but I'm one of the few, I guess. People buy into this. It's dangerous. It is dangerous when you have that type of rhetoric out there because you make people angry, you make them afraid, their brains shut off, and they do horrible, awful things, and that's where you start running into stuff like this, and it's unfortunate. And, I mean, I wish the absolute best for everybody out there who is involved in all of this. I really do. But as long as people like Rashida Tlaib are going out there and spreading false narratives and demonizing people in order to go ahead and win favor, we're going to continue to have this problem. Instead of, this is the weirdest thing. All you have to do is hang back and not post something until you know what's going on. Or not inject your opinion into stuff and just post what the authorities are saying. It's weird. Every time I cover a live event, that's what I do. It always works out. Always works out. Got more coming up. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel.
All right. Oh boy, they're talking about meat now. I would love some Bill's barbecue.
Is live on Capitol Hill.
The House Judiciary Committee could work late.
Do you do vegetables?
Yes.
Articles of impeachment against President Trump.
You just want one of their Italian beef sandwiches or something?
No, I'm totally okay.
You're starving, and I don't think I'm going to make it. So.
Well, no, go for it. I just don't have any money, so it's okay.
John, Jesus. I'm offering you lunch, Jackwad. Take it.
All right. Okay.
They got beef and sausage sandwiches.
You know what? Get me this. Get me.
Oh, here it comes. It's going to be the
Maxwell Street Polish. It's a gigantic sausage with onions and peppers.
Maxwell
Street Polish. Yeah.
Let me see if I can find it.
That's what I'll take.
All right. Let me see if I can find it. Hold on. Maxwell Street.
Do they deliver?
Yeah, they deliver. They now deliver. I don't know if this is a new thing or what, but I figured I'd look.
I love Portillo's.
I do too. Yeah, the Portillo's thing comes out because I knew somebody named Portillo and he spelled it the exact same way. Okay, what the hell is it called again?
The Maxwell Street Polish.
And it's a sausage.
Yeah, and it's awesome. Like the first time I had one, I'm like, oh my gosh.
Beef and sausage sandwiches. Okay, so Maxwell Street Polish. Okay, got it.
Okay.
They had another word in front of it.
It's like a big, huge wiener.
You want it on French bread or a hot dog bun, or do you give a crap?
Hot dog bun's fine. All right. Because I won't need that anyway.
You can remove the bun. You want me to do that?
Oh, yeah.
All right. Take the bun off.
Yeah, take the bun off.
You want everything on it?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Add to my bag is what it says.
Thank you, Casey.
You're welcome. We fight a lot, but we do actually get along. It's like we're married or something.
I need to wake up. And it's not you, it's me.
Oh, I know it's not me.
Oh, I know.
I'm entertaining as hell. I'm not really on the diet right now, so I might just go for a beef sandwich.
Shuttle service between Notre Dame and the Chicago airports is shutting down after this month. The Indiana Airport Super Saver buses have moved travelers between the airports and school for decades. The Times of Northwest Indiana
Customized toppings.
North America is discontinuing the runs on December 31st at a cost of 300 jobs. It made stops at Notre Dame, South Bend's Airport, Michigan City, Midway, and O'Hare. The coach line says Megabus will run to and from Notre Dame on weekends and for major school breaks. 5-3 MNC Brian Davis reporting. And several school districts in Michigan are flipping the switch for electric school buses. And that list includes a district in St. Joseph County. 3 Rivers students will climb onto electric buses.
Ooh, I can get onion rings? Shoot, I'm all about that.
And have an added feature designed with safety in mind. When buses are traveling between 1 and 15 miles per hour, they play music
Wow.
on the outside of the bus. That music will inform the
No,
public
small drink.
that a school bus is approaching. The zero-emission buses are 100% electric. 3 Rivers will be getting 2 of them. That's 5-3 MNC's Caleb Hatch. One news sponsored by
Coming for your favorite breakfast. I love the bacon. No, I do. No, I do. No, I do.
Your home comfort experts, heating specialists.
Well, that is okay. That is not.
Sunshine will go a long way. Round out the work week for
What if I don't want to drink?
When your hands are full or ears are open, 95.3 MNC on Alexa. And now on the Google Home Smart Speaker.
Got it.
From Tucson, 95.3 Michiana's News Channel.
So you all are secondary at this point. I'm friggin' hungry.
Assisted living community. At Silver Birch, we seek to serve those who are most vulnerable, those that are 55 years and older who live on a limited income. Our homes are designed to help you thrive.
No, I don't. Okay, I'm not paying that much for that thing.
Studio and one-bedroom options that are available now. Our goal
It said it was a $5 meal, you liars. All right. Anyway,
with modern conveniences such as
famous 5 meals is $5, right?
accessible bathroom,
That's what I would assume.
appliances, and individually controlled heating and cooling. And services can be provided for assistance in activities of daily living, medication reminders and assistance, 3 meals per day, weekly housekeeping and laundry, as well as a wide range of activities. Visit Silver Birch of Mishawaka, where high-quality assisted living is affordable. We work with multiple funding sources such as private pay, Medicaid waiver, and veterans aid entitlements.
Silver Birch Living at Mishawaka December Improvement Special is $0 deposit and half off
Oh.
December and January. Ask for details. Hi, I'm Jay Farmer, CEO of Quicken Loans, America's largest.
Oh, I need to make a list of things to do, so that way I can get some things done while I'm doing this.
Probably a good idea.
I won't be here all night, stressed out about having to be here so early.
We're 237 West Edison, right?
237. Yeah, 237 West Edison.
Yeah.
Some of the equity in your home to good use by paying off a lot of that high-interest credit card debt. A great way to take cash out is with our 30-year fixed rate.
No, I don't want a damn chocolate cake.
No, and you know what? Their chocolate cake is good, and you know what's even better is their lemon cake. But they only sell that certain times of the year.
The pistachio cake at
Oh my God,
Mishawaka
it's so awesome.
is, oh my God, John.
Oh.
You don't even understand, dude.
No, I think I understand.
So good.
I love
$4
pistachio.
delivery fee. Yowza! All right, I'll get the card information in the next break.
Michiana's News Channel, your breaking news and weather station.
Good afternoon. Thank you for tuning in. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's News Channel. I am your host, Casey Hendrickson. Phone number 574-25-95-95.3. That is 2595-953. You can also send a text message to 45364. Please put MNC at the beginning of that message. All right. I'm live streaming. So you can go to youtube.com/Casey the host or twitch.tv/Casey the host. If you would like to listen to the show, you can go to 953mnc.com or download the free 953 MNC app or use your favorite streaming app, whichever you prefer. Of course, you won't get the awesome news that we put out there if you use some of the other services. Let's see. What else do we have here? Yes, I am in the middle of ordering lunch. I got people on the live stream giving me suggestions. I appreciate that. Then there is also this discussion, which if you are a beef jerky fan, you may be interested in, because Mike on the live stream makes phenomenal beef jerky, and they are discussing various ways of cooking meat. There's nothing wrong with that. All right, so a listener sent me this today. It's from bearingarms.com. The title of the story is, "She Shot Her Ex in Self-Defense, but She's the One Behind Bars." A woman in Decatur, Illinois, her first mistake is living in Illinois, who shot her ex in self-defense after he attacked her in a vehicle, is now behind bars on $75,000 bond, while her abuser is already back on the streets. Now, according to the Herald Review newspaper, police say that the woman was defending herself when she fired the shot from her legally owned firearm. But because she doesn't have a concealed carry license, she is now facing a felony charge. And this is where my often repeated statements on the program, concealed carry licenses are unconstitutional. Sergeant Chris Copeland said officers were sent to 6:50 p.m. to St. Mary's Hospital in response to the man having been shot in his right side. He told police that the woman had shot him in front of his home on East Grand Avenue. Police began their investigation by contacting the 29-year-old woman who voluntarily came to the Decatur Police Department for questioning. Copeland said that the woman had several injuries to her face from a man battering her while she was inside of her vehicle. She had a shunt in her head from a previous injury, and a blow to the head could be fatal. The woman told police she shot the man in self-defense. Copeland also said that the woman is not facing charges for the shooting. In other words, they believe her story that it was self-defense, but is facing a preliminary charge of aggravated unlawful use of a weapon or lack of a concealed carry license. She is being held in lieu of $75,000. Now, her attacker was given a $10,000 bond on charges of domestic battery and vehicular invasion, and according to the local paper, he's already posted bond and is back out on the street. Isn't that nice? Decatur, Illinois. The article continues in BearingArms.com. Apparently, in Illinois, acting in self-defense with a gun you're not licensed to carry is a more serious offense than beating a woman in her own car. In 15 states, you can legally own a gun. You can legally carry it without the need for a government permit or license, which is, again, unconstitutional. In many other states like Florida and Texas, you can have a gun in your vehicle for self-defense without the need for a concealed carry license. Illinois is one of just a handful of states where this woman would face charges for defending herself with her legally owned gun in her own vehicle, and now it is going to be up to the local state's attorneys and whether to actually bring charges against her. And so that's where we're going to figure out what happens. We're probably going to have to follow this case. Bearing Arms concludes their article. This is Cam Edwards over there. My hope is that the prosecutor realizes that justice would not be served by turning a domestic violence victim into a felon because she took action to protect her life. Let's not forget, too. So this is a woman who used a firearm to protect herself against a guy who apparently has a history of beating her. And she's got a head injury previously to where if she gets hit in the head again, it could be fatal. This guy, I assume, knew that, attacked her anyway, probably trying to kill her. And if you charge her with this and she becomes a felon, she won't legally be allowed to have a gun, which means this guy can go ahead and just beat on her as much as he wants, and there's not much she can do about it. I mean, she can get other tools, obviously, to protect herself, but, you know, this one seems to be pretty darned effective. And again, she's a legal gun owner. A legal gun owner. She just doesn't have the license to carry in Illinois, which, again, is unconstitutional. If he does bring charges, I'd ask for a jury trial because I'd like to think that no juror in their right mind is going to send a woman to prison because she didn't have a concealed carry license for the gun that saved her life. You have to understand this is Illinois, though. I don't know. That's the risk you take. You go to a jury trial and you run the risk of getting more time. Whereas they would probably tell her, look, if you plead guilty to this, yes, you're a felon, but you don't go to jail. Or you can go to trial and you can face 15 years or whatever. I'm just saying 15 years. I don't know that it is 15 years. So the average person looks at this and says, well, if I plead guilty, yes, I'm a felon, but I don't go to prison. If I go to trial and I lose, I could go to prison for a long time. Now, I don't know if this woman has any kids or anything like that, or if she's, just like a normal person and doesn't want to go to prison. I'm willing to bet she takes the plea deal, as the vast majority of Americans do. Even innocent ones, they take the plea deal because they're offered no jail time and they don't want to go behind bars. It's something we've talked about a long, long time. If I were a local lawmaker from the Decatur area, I'd be introducing legislation to scrap that requirement that an individual must possess a concealed carry license in order to have a firearm in their vehicle. Yeah, I would agree with that, but I also don't know. I'd have to look at the nuances of Illinois law and see if there's a preemption clause or something of that with the state, which would, make it to where if you're in Decatur, Illinois, it wouldn't matter what you passed. The state law is supreme. But it's a horrible story. She legally owns the gun. She's a victim of domestic violence, uses it to protect herself. She did shoot this guy outside of his house, so I don't know what she was doing there. But he beats her in her car. She defends herself, shoots him in the side. He's out on $10,000 bond. Remember, he beat the tar out of her. Okay, so he's out on $10,000 bond. She shoots a guy in self-defense, and she's got to deal with $75,000. simply because she doesn't have a license to carry in Illinois. That's how messed up that system is. And I know that there's a lot of even pro-gun people like, oh, nothing wrong with carry licenses or anything like. Yes, there is, okay? Because you don't have to have permission to have a firearm. The right to keep and bear arms doesn't mean just inside your house. I've been trying to tell people this for years. They don't seem to get it. Of course, part of the reason that we have some of the screwed up gun laws that we have is in part because of the NRA, and they're willing to capitulate on some of this stuff. So I wish this woman the best. We'll keep updating you on that story. I appreciate the listener. I think Alex is the one that sent it to me earlier, but I could be wrong. We will continue to update you on this. Hopefully, they make the right choice. We've got more coming up. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel.
Casey Hendrickson.
News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel.
This is trash. I need that. Gotta get my food on. Doobie-doobie-doop. Doobie-doop. Hold on, folks. Food is the priority. That could be like my niche, though. I could just do live streams where I order food. Come on, man. Really? How many pictures have fire hydrants in them? Oh, how many pictures have traffic lights? Did the traffic light one include the pole? Guess not.
Is this one of those?
Yeah, stupid
you gotta
captions.
prove you're not a robot.
Mm-hmm.
I hate those.
Delivery fee may have changed. Please reconfirm that you would like to proceed with the revised quote. What the heck? I don't know what that means. It looks exactly the same. I don't understand. It's the same quote. Didn't change. Wow. Your online system sucks. Alright. I'll go let Taylor know. Alrighty. Oh, here it is. We've got it. Here's the trade deal. I did. I just ordered food like a boomer. 100%.
Maybe it's the first fish pulled from the ice when she was teeny tiny. Maybe it's that warm, fuzzy feeling you get when pulling that old familiar bag. Maybe it's the ones you miss dearly and wish you could hug just one more time. No matter where you go or what you drive, build memories together this season. Happy holidays from R&B.
I'm ready to work, but
Hey, do I still do the R&B car company thing? Nobody's told me.
That's sales. I honestly don't remember. I mean, they haven't told me you don't.
Nobody's really said anything about it.
Let's not discuss it here.
Okay.
I have not been told you don't. And I know they're still on in the morning. So.
Okay.
John Zimney back with Michiana's Morning News first thing Friday on 95.3 MNC.
And good afternoon. Thank you for tuning in. Newstalk 95.3, Michiana's news channel. Do want to thank R&B Car Company. Locations in South Bend and Warsaw. R&B Car Company are your used car experts. Phone number 574-2595. 95.3. That is 2595-953. You can also send a text message to 45364. Please put MNC. At the beginning of that message, breaking news, ladies and gentlemen, the United States has reached an in-principle trade deal with China. They are simply waiting for Trump to sign off on the deal. Let's see what we got. U.S. negotiators have reached the terms of a Phase 1 trade deal with China that now awaits President Trump's approval, according to people briefed on the plans. The deal being presented to Trump includes a delay in the December 15th new round of tariffs, a schedule for a rollback of some of the existing ones, and a promise by the Chinese to buy more U.S. agricultural goods, according to the people who are associated with this. The terms have been agreed to, but the legal text has not yet been finalized. All right. So, and then who knows what happens with the legal text on all of this. By the way, when the president announced that we were really, really close to this big deal earlier today, the stocks went through the roof. Trade advisors met with the president on Thursday afternoon to discuss the pact, and an announcement could come by day's end. People said a White House spokesman declined to comment. The administration has reached out to allies on Capitol Hill and in the business community to issue statements of support once the announcement is made. The U.S. stocks rose. Treasury yields spiked on the news. Earlier Thursday, Trump tweeted that the U.S. and China were very close to signing a big trade deal, also sending equities higher. Trump says that they want it, so do we, which is true. I've been talking about the Chinese economy over the past several weeks and months because China has really struggled with this. Now, they did finally have some manufacturing growth in the last book. That was the first time that they had it in quite some time, so a couple of years. So and it wasn't great. It was more like, oh, thank God the bleeding has stopped. So China's still continuing to struggle economically, and that is because pretty much all of their eggs are in the American basket. It's really that simple. The Phase 1 pact has been expected to reduce existing tariffs and delay ones due to take effect on Sunday. Trump has rejected deals with China before. Negotiators have been working on the terms of the Phase 1 deal for months after the president announced in October that the two nations had reached an agreement that they could put on paper within weeks. That is this agreement here. Again, they just got to get the legal stuff out of the way. The U.S. has added a 25% duty on about $250 billion of Chinese products and 15% levy on another $110 billion of its imports over the course of a roughly 20-month trade war. Discussions now are focused on reducing those rates by as much as half as part of the interim agreement that Trump announced almost 9 weeks ago. In addition to the significant increase in Chinese agricultural purchases in exchange for tariff relief, officials have also said that a Phase 1 pact would include Chinese commitments to do more to stop intellectual property theft and an agreement by both sides not to manipulate their currencies. Of course, there's only one side in that argument who actually does manipulate their currency. Put off for later discussions are issues like U.S. complaints over the vast web of subsidies ranging from cheap electricity to low-cost loans that China used to build its industrial might. And that's one of the things that went after the U.S. steel industry, too, is Chinese steel, which is way inferior, by the way. Chinese steel will, they'll come in, they'll sell in the American market at a loss. And then the Chinese government will subsidize the loss so that that company doesn't go out of business. It's very much like the healthcare exchange program under Obama, where they could sell the health plans at a loss, and then the government would come in and make it up. Now, that was ruled to be illegal because that wasn't a part of the law, and it's been overturned now. But still, that was a huge issue with the Chinese. So that's been tabled for a later date. Okay, so right now, basically what we have is the new tariffs that are supposed to go into place on Sunday won't. Okay, those will be delayed. The Chinese are now going to buy a bunch more agricultural goods, and China actually needs the United States to produce rice for it. So a lot of people don't know that. In fact, I think you guys were discussing that on the live stream a couple of days ago, maybe a week or so ago, and people were shocked to hear that the Chinese rely on the United States for rice. It's true. They can't produce enough rice in China, and they rely on our rice. So it's always been something we've been able to use against them. But they're going to bring in way more than just rice, and they do a lot of soy as well. So there's going to be a lot of benefits to American farmers as a result of this. And then the tariffs that are currently in place as a part of the trade war will be reduced by as much as half, depending on the sector and everything else. And as I've told you before, the strategy for the trade war was brilliant by the president, absolutely brilliant, because most of us didn't notice it. Now, some of you in industries that use a lot of Chinese metals, you did notice it, okay? But for most of us, we didn't notice it. The pricing index didn't change. There was, no major inflation issue to deal with. And a lot of the tariffs were done on small dollar items. And so the average person who would have spent $1 for something was paying $1.03. and it just wasn't noticed. So again, that's not universal, but that's near universal for the U.S. economy. Now, there are some out there who obviously had to deal with it. I've heard from air conditioning and electrical companies that they've had to deal with some issues with it. No doubt that has happened. There are some industries hit by this a lot harder than others. But at the same time, as far as the consumer is concerned, where the fear-mongering was that Americans were not going to be able to buy stuff because things are going to be more expensive and they weren't going to have all of that money to spend, that didn't materialize. Now, there were a lot of websites and businesses who artificially inflated their prices. We caught a bunch of people doing this and then blaming the trade war for it. And in fact, there were a lot of places that were raising their rates, claiming that it was the tariff issue when those tariffs had not even gone into effect. And so that did happen. There were some people out there who raised the price of their product, blaming the tariff situation, but in fact, it had nothing to do with the tariffs. It was just a business practice on their end to raise prices and increase profits. Not that I am critical of that. I wish they wouldn't have lied about it, but they had to give themselves some cover for raising rates and raising prices. So once the legal stuff on this is actually situated, it'll be interesting to sit down and get all of the very specific details of this. This is just breaking this afternoon. But right now, looks like it's a pretty positive trade agreement for the United States, and China is going to be able to get some agricultural stuff out of it and get some of those tariffs reduced. All right, 574-2595, 95.3. On that news, why don't we just talk about 5 economic records that the president had this year? And again, one of the things that you never talk about with President Trump in the media is the good economy. You do everything you can to avoid talking about it. It's so good they don't even claim it's Obama's anymore because Obama said it wasn't his, but they just run around and just ignore it now. Overall unemployment, 3.5%. That is staggeringly low. What do we have here? That is, historical anomaly is what they're calling it. So the last time that unemployment was at 3.5% was in 1929. Black unemployment now stands at 5.5%, which it was actually 5.4% in October. That is the lowest point ever recorded in October. It's still historically low, but 5.4 in October, technically lower than what it is now. Hispanic unemployment is at 4.2%, the lowest point on record in September, when it was at 3.9. Basically, everybody who wants a job can find one at this point. Okay, there's more job openings than there are available people, And I know that there are a lot of folks out there looking at the visa thing because it's one big sticking point with a lot of conservatives and Trump is visas and bringing foreigners into the country to work jobs. But there are a lot of jobs available that there aren't Americans to fill. It's not a case of filling jobs that Americans will not do anymore. It's a case of we don't have any Americans for these jobs, so we need to bring other people in. So it'd be interesting to see how that plays out because it is a sticking point with conservatives and President Trump. But essentially, anybody who wants a job now can get one. The stock market, undeniable, best stock market run we have ever had. 401ks, the line in the article is 401ks have been made great again. And in November, we officially set the record for the best bull market ever. As CNBC explained, the current market boom, which started in March of 2009, has enjoyed a whopping 468% gain for the S&P 500 through the first day of November, making this record-long bull run almost the best performing one since World War II. Credit scores, another thing that people don't talk about. The average credit score has increased to an all-time high of 706. So, which, by the way, is a pretty darn good score. For most of us who have lived our adult lives in the economies that we have had, having a credit score at 700 is something that's extremely rare. Some of us who have gotten to that point, when we got to it, I mean, God, the lenders just came out of the woodworks. But 706 is the highest all-time average the United States has ever had for credit scores. And obviously that's because you have more money, you can pay your bills, you can pay your loans off, you're using less credit because you can pay cash for things now. And so those are just 5 of the big economic takeaways from Trump in 2019. Huge issues to discuss, but of course the media doesn't want to. We got more coming up. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel.
This is Michiana's breaking news and weather station. MNC.
Yeah, but they're not allowed to say that it wasn't good and they don't like what it says. So. Monday, I've got Robertson. I'm amazed at how many people do not get the website for the CBD lotion when I do my reads. Because I answer multiple emails about that per day. Am I just not saying it clear enough? Already covered that, Ricky. Pretty shameful, but not surprising. What's up, Corey? Yeah, it's messing with your drone prices. I would imagine so. So much of that is coming in from China. So it was a Reuters photographer he was taking. You can't take pictures of the dang notes, man. You can't do that. What the hell was he thinking? What on earth was he thinking? I mean, how dare he go up there and take notes take pictures of notes like that? So is Gates doing it on Twitter, or did he do it in the hearing? The photographer has been removed. Wow, what the hell was that guy thinking?
Chances are you can remember your best decisions. Buying that car, having a child, getting away from the rat race, if only for a little while. Now you can add another decision to that list. Moving to a Trilogy Senior
The technology director.
When you make the move to a Trilogy Senior Living community,
Correctional facility.
decision. We guarantee it.
Wow.
Visit trilogyhs.com to find a community near you.
The Fox Business Report, powered by home comfort experts, plumbing, heating, and cooling. Keep their hardworking furnace running smooth with the tune-up today.
Unbelievable. I mean, not really, but holy crap.
And this is the Fox Business Report. On Wall Street, the major averages closing sharply higher, with sources telling Fox Business that a Phase 1 U.S.-China trade deal is imminent. Among the gainers today, banks in
A man accused of holding two sisters resisting law enforcement.
Morgan. The only real Dow decliner today, Boeing. The Dow rising 221 points. The Nasdaq hitting a record close, up 63. The S&P 500.
They did recalculate unemployment numbers under the Obama administration. Yes, they did. That's why you use the U6 number as your true unemployment number, which is still the lowest in history. So.
Wall Street estimates with revenue for expense of
Yeah, they did.
by 38%, but the retailer provided guidance that was weaker than expected as the company invests in new product launches. That's your Fox Business Report. I'm Hillary Barsky, invested in you.
Prescription products require an online physician consultation. Are only available at the physician attorney's prescription. Appropriate subscription requirements.
No problem, Ricky. It wasn't the first thing that I talked about today, but I did talk about it early. It was in hour one. It was towards the end of hour one I talked about Talib.
At 4hims.com. That's right. Zero copay, no awkward face-to-face conversations to get your prescription. That's really good news. To start your free online visit, go to this exclusive address, 4hims.com/joy. That's FOR.
Yeah, I don't know what happened with the pictures, because those pictures should not be released. But they removed them.
During a Big Finish 2019 sales event. Get employee pricing on most new in-stock 2019-2020.
See, Representative Mike Johnson says it was the Judiciary GOP desks that the guy was taking pictures of. So where's the... Did they say it was of Democrats' notes?
Save $4,000 on a new 2019 Jeep Renegade 4x4. It's a new minivan on your gift list. Save $4,500 on a new 2020.
The technology director for a man accused of holding two sisters hostage before ransacking their apartment and fleeing police is now behind bars. Police tell WOWO News that Derek Terry had been in the women's apartment.
Holy moly, man.
Behind bars.
And it's been recommended over
bars. Derek Terry.
920 North Napa,
Thank you. You should get the $4 I paid them for delivery. But you won't. But you should. Thank you. I appreciate it.
It's
Huh? Yeah, $4. You believe that crap? I think this one might be yours. This feels like a hot dog bun, but I don't know for sure. Yep. Thanks. I honestly don't know. I got an Italian beef. Oh, you know what? This one
This
might.
is the Italian.
Okay. Swap.
And after we offer complete dental care at any location.
I'm gonna get some.
Probably a good idea.
We're good for your holiday gatherings and family photos.
Yeah, so I can only read, obviously, what I see, but...
At 277-2220 or visit our website at afnet.com.
Took pictures of both sides. Wow.
From the first step to the final phase, industrial and commercial electrical done right. This is Casey Hendrickson.
And good afternoon. Thank you for tuning in. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel. So something interesting has been happening at the hearings today. Thank you, John. Our Portillo's got here. One of the photographers, and it got caught on, I think it was CNN's camera. One of the photographers that is covering the hearings today was going up to the desks of the members of Congress and the Judiciary Committee and taking pictures of their notes. You can't do that, okay? That's not allowed. That is an egregious breach of conduct. And so they did it, and then they got really close up on some of those pictures, taking pictures of the notes. And so this started going around the internet. I had some people post it to my Twitter as well. And now Representative Matt Gaetz has apparently called the guy out. He's a photographer from Reuters. John will eventually get my music to go away. Sorry. Thank you. Just trying to yell over it. We're all really excited about our food. We're starving. And so Representative Matt Gaetz called him out. I guess they took pictures of everybody's notes, but the close-up photo is, and I posted this to my Twitter at RealKCH, is of the GOP notes. And like, you can't do that. So it's a Reuters photographer. They have now been removed. I don't know what they did with the camera or the photos, because those photos should not be released to the public. And yeah, it's really interesting. But Representative Mike Johnson had originally tweeted out, because this was caught, CNN was basically doing their normal segment, and they had a split screen, and then on the right-hand side, you just watch these photographers in an empty room go up and start taking pictures of stuff. And so Mike Johnson tweeted out, he goes, spotted while we were in the House floor, on the House floor voting, because they had to leave to do a vote. CNN's live feed caught photographing, documents on the Judiciary GOP desks. And so now Matt Gaetz has announced that person's been removed. They are a photographer for Reuters, and they took pictures of both sides with the close-up shot, according to people are able to watch this and monitor this, because I can't, are saying that the close-up was of the GOP side of things. Josh Roberts is the photographer's name, according to the live stream. So Josh Roberts from Reuters is the individual. It'll be interesting to see what happens here, because it is a breach of conduct. You're not allowed to go take those photos. So it'll be interesting to see what Reuters does with this, because they should fire the guy, but knowing Reuters, they may not. So I guess we'll have to continue to wait and see what actually happens. I'll put the video in the daily show prep today. But huge breach. You do not do that. You're not supposed to do that. You're not allowed to do that. And here we go. And he knows that too, by the way. He understands full well that you don't go up and take pictures of people's notes in these hearings at all, especially since some of that information is not going to be for public digestion, and there's real risks there, but it's a breach of decorum. You're not supposed to do it. All right, 574-2595, 95.3. That is 2595953. You can also send a text message to 45364, and please put MNC at the beginning of that message. A little later on today, I will get to these rules that have been released by vegans for the holiday meals that you all are getting ready to have. And it is one of the most tone-deaf things that I think I've read in a while. And I've read a lot of tone-deaf stuff, but you'll understand later. So we'll get to that here in just a little bit. 372,000 have been born to immigrants every single year. 33,000 of them are tourists in the United States. Illegal and visiting immigrants give birth to enough children in the United States every year to top the populations of St. Louis, Pittsburgh, or Anaheim. And at least 33,000 are considered birth tourists eager to win their children birthright citizenship and themselves a quick ticket in, according to 2 new reports that have come out on Thursday. The Center for Immigration Studies, using federal statistics, has found that there are 39,000 births a year to foreign students, guest workers, and others on long-term temporary visas, plus an additional 33,000 births annually to tourists. So you come to the United States as a tourist when you're 9 months pregnant, hoping to give birth in the U.S. and be able to stay here. The group that advocates for immigration reform added that births are in addition to the nearly 300,000 births each year to illegal immigrants. Again, those are estimates, okay? Stephen Camarota, the report's lead author and the center's director of research, said, our analysis makes clear that the number of children born to visitors is not trivial, and over time, the numbers are very substantial. He also added that it seems doubtful that the framers of the 14th Amendment would have anticipated that tens of thousands of people each year would automatically be granted citizenship simply because their parents were on a temporary visit to the United States at the time of their birth. In fact, if you go back, I covered this quite extensively some time ago, actually a little over a year ago, right before the previous noise from the last noise. We covered this at great length, where I went over the Supreme Court rulings on birthright citizenship, where it came from, what it actually means, that sort of stuff. And not only would the Founding Fathers not have approved, the Founding Fathers believed that it should be a state issue. And it wasn't until the federal government started taking over some years later that this became a federal issue, but usually it was a state issue. And that's why you had so many allowed to stay in California. California wanted them to stay, and they still want them to stay to this point, but it wasn't something that was handled at a federal level. But you were not allowed to be a visiting person and have a kid and get citizenship in the United States. You had to settle down. So that wasn't something that was granted until later on in our history. So pretty interesting. That's not, 372,000 children born every year to immigrants. That is not a small number by any stretch of the imagination. We've got more coming up. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel.
Bypass backups and toll road trouble. Find out before you're delayed with
Traffic alerts to your smartphone. Details at 953mnc.com. Casey Hendrickson.
News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel.
Your breaking news and weather station.
Weather served up by the Prime Table Restaurant in Niles. Does your family or group meet regularly for breakfast, lunch, or dinner? Just call the Prime Table to reserve tables for your next gathering.
Now, your home comfort experts, heating specialists, 5-day forecast.
Forecast is quiet to end the week, mostly cloudy, around 40 on Friday. Saturday, we could see a little rain or snow. We're talking drizzle or flurries with a high of 38. Then temperatures fall into Sunday. Sunday, mostly cloudy, 30.
You're welcome.
Quiet and a lull through the first half of Monday.
This will pretty much do the trick.
It looked like you enjoyed it.
Oh my gosh.
Snow showers Monday night.
Yeah, I had them dip mine. Like, you want us to dip it? Yes. Dip it in things. Not gonna lie, looks and smells amazing.
Mine was smothered in grilled onions and mustard.
I got sweet peppers on mine.
Do it right now. Pick the county
Want to see it?
and get word
Oh
of severe
yeah,
weather the very
good stuff.
moment the alert is issued. Minutes matter, and that's why we've made our weather text alert service better than ever. Again, text weather to 45364.
Oh god, that's good.
From News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel, your breaking news and weather station.
Thumbs up for eating food on the live stream.
Santa will be checking twice. And the easiest way to do that is to give
God dang.
It's like giving 3 gifts: breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
That is exactly what I needed.
It's the gift of a reason to go out. And best of all, it's an absolutely fantastic
I'm very calm
deal at
now.
the Prime Table. A gift certificate to the Prime Table fits in the stocking, but let's face it, it's under the tree good. Say Merry Christmas with a gift certificate from the Prime Table in Niles.
Winter is the worst for your vehicle. While you're warm and toasty and driving down the road, the salt, sludge, and snow is covering your car, building up ice blocks in your wheel well. Don't make winter any worse than it is.
You're welcome, Frank. Glad I could help.
One of the finest exterior auto washes in Parkwood Auto Spa. Located in South Bend, just east of
Why is this commercial 5 times louder than the others?
I don't know.
From 7:30 a.m. to 7:30 p.m., 7 days a week. And this holiday season is a perfect time to take advantage. Savings are available with discounts on next priced and buy 5 washes, get 3 free. Enough for you to
It
have
is
some for
crazy.
yourself and all those people on your list. Visit one of their locations or go to ParkwoodAutoSpa.com.
It's almost like we don't know how to do auto leveling here.
Download the new app with exciting things
I think that's the way it's put into the system.
holiday season with Parkwood Auto Spa's buy 5, get 3 discount deals. Go to one of their locations in South Bend and Mishawaka. Come as you are, stay in your car. Find out great candidates to hire can be like
Honestly, the sweet peppers make the sandwich on this cheese.
But not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job.
That Steele may have been hired by someone associated with a rival candidate or campaign. Certainly some big moments from the hours-long hearing with Michael Horowitz, who testified that the debunked Steele dossier was in fact used by the feds to justify spying on an American citizen.
The DOJ watchdog also fighting back at Democrats for downplaying the errors laid out in his report. So how serious are these revelations and how will they affect the upcoming impeachment vote? Congressman Jim Banks joins us now. Congressman Banks, good morning.
Good to be with you.
All right, so we learned in this IG report that FBI agents straight up lied in order to surveil Carter Page. What's your reaction to that, and how can we make sure that this never happens again?
Well, first of all, Mr. Horowitz's findings in the report do show this is, if not the biggest scandal in modern history.
Oh boy.
He's right. Oh, Lord. God, it was good. I don't get sweet peppers a lot, but they made that sandwich. Holy moly.
How did that do that?
Super yums.
Traffic alert on 53 MNC.
Oh, you're on.
Yeah, I'll come back. People keep stealing my Pyrex.
Well, I do say that getting Portillo's was a great call on my part, John. You look like you enjoyed it.
I did. Thank you, Casey. I am publicly thanking you for
through,
improving the quality of my life.
I got
today.
through a large Italian beef sandwich in one commercial break. But boy, was that a good call. Anyway, although I still think they owe me a little refund for a $4 delivery charge. 574-2595, 95.3. That is 2595-953. All right, vegans. I guess we got to talk about vegans. I don't know how many of you've actually had to deal with radical vegans like I have. And I'm not saying that to be insulting or facetious or anything. Radical vegans are nuts. And they expect you to alter your entire life for them, right? You're not allowed to go to a restaurant that serves meat because they don't want anything near the meat. I mean, it's just one of those things. And they will do everything they can. There's a reason we joke about vegans and people who do CrossFit. Like, who's going to tell you that they're what first? Because they are constantly pushing their lifestyle on you. They're constantly attacking your lifestyle. Okay, not all of you. There's some of you out there go, I don't do that. I'm not talking about you. All right? I'm not talking about you. I am just talking about pretty much everybody you know. All right? Everybody in your camp loves running around and doing this. They harass people at restaurants. I've got Her Name is Snow showing up on the live stream. They're constantly pushing their agenda and attacking you as a meat eater. In spite of the fact that you have the more natural diet, they have a weird, wonky, unnatural diet, which is why so many of them are so unhealthy. But live your life the way that you want to live your life. All I ask is you let me live mine the way that I want to live mine. That's it, okay? And we're more than welcome to live in peace and harmony if you do that. Well, vegans have produced an advisory guide for meat eaters about how to make their plant-eating guests feel more welcome at Christmas dinner including serving them first and making sure that nobody makes fun of their lifestyle. First of all, people don't make fun of vegan lifestyles unless vegans do it first. I don't know many people, there's probably a couple online. I don't know many people who really attack the vegans over this. Most people don't want to engage them, so they just leave them alone and let them eat whatever the heck they want. They don't want to get into it with them because they know they're about to hear some really stupid things. So most people just want to be left alone, and they want the vegans to be left alone too, so they don't have to deal with the backlash from it. The list of do's and don'ts have been published by a New Zealand vegetarian society under the title Give the Gift of Understanding. What a tone-deaf bunch of malarkey. Anyway, we're going to say malarkey now because that's a thing. The guide says that Christmas can be a challenging time for vegans, and others should take this into account. You know how many vegans were there throughout the holiday histories of the world? Very few. Very, very few. If your loved one is an animal lover, oh, I can't love animals if I eat them. So it starts off as an insult. If your loved one is an animal lover, seeing meat can bring back memories of animal abuse they've witnessed, such as slaughterhouse footage that convinced them to change their lifestyle, the guide says. These intrusive thoughts can be upsetting. It can make their experience of Christmas much different to that of the meat eaters sitting at the table with them. So remember, you don't like animals if you eat meat. To make the day less traumatic for vegans triggered by those sights of meat, the guide suggests Christmas hosts get in touch with their vegan guests ahead of time. If you talk to them beforehand and ask them how you can accommodate them, you'll probably find that they arrive more relaxed. I don't really care if they arrive more relaxed or if they arrive at all. If you want to prepare food that everyone can eat, your loved one will likely have some suggestions and know some good recipes. Oh, so I've got to change everything now. I've got to make food that everybody can eat. You notice the vegans who show up at these places, they never want to take responsibility for their own diet. They want everybody else to change their diet for everybody who's also a guest there. Beyond recipe tips, the Vegetarian Society also recommends those who persist with meat eating can become an ally of vegans and make them feel safe among those who may disparage their dietary choices, saying, I really like that vegan chocolate you brought. Or I admire your commitment to the environment, within earshot of those making hurtful comments. Oh, shut your face. Shut up. Anyway, none of that's true, by the way. Another recommended good turn was to make sure that vegans got a good helping of the vegetable dishes to compensate for the lack of meat on their plates. If possible, make sure the vegans get served first, the guide suggests. They probably won't jump to the front of the queue, so why not do it for them? Well, they can't jump to the front of the queue. They don't have any protein to make their muscles work right. They're too slow. You can say, I know Sarah can't eat everything here, so I just want to make sure that she doesn't miss out. No. Sarah should have brought some stuff. If Sarah's really concerned about not getting enough food, let's be honest, vegans don't eat that much anyway. She's not concerned about it. She should have brought her own food. Or she is concerned about it. She should have brought her own food. The guide also said adopting all these recommendations should make for a happier experience for vegan guests. Yeah, just not anybody else. So basically, let's change the entire meal to include only vegan dishes, because that's essentially what they were saying, reading between the lines. Make sure you have dishes that we all can eat. And then, which is something that I've personally experienced. And then, make sure you serve the vegans first, right? Don't let anybody be mean to the vegans, because the vegans are going to be traumatized by seeing the meat anyway. Why would the vegans even want to go to a dinner where you're going to have people eating meat if it's going to trigger some kind of a PTSD flashback to Nam? Come on. Stop it. But this is what they do. I've personally experienced this many times. It is just how they operate. So maybe I'm a little more aggressive about it than I think a lot of people, just because I have personally experienced it so many times. But they do. They want you to completely change everything around for them. No, vegans, if you want to be polite, if you're going to go to a dinner where there's going to be meat, you're concerned about there being other options that meet your dietary lifestyle, you bring those options. And you bring enough to share with everybody else. Because maybe you can get somebody to go, you know what, that isn't too bad. That's not... You know what? That chocolate, that vegan chocolate, whatever, is not awful. And then that person will immediately get the runs right after saying that, because that's what happens when you consume vegan food at these holiday dinners. You get the squirts. That's just what happens. Sorry, it's a part of the dietary thing. Now, if you talk to a vegan, if you get an upset tummy or the runs after you have a hamburger, it's because the hamburger is so toxic. But if you get it worse after having a vegan dish, it's the toxins leaving your body. Isn't that always convenient? Serve them first, you peasants. Good Lord. 574-25-95-95-3. That's 2595-953. Just stay home or bring your own food. Got more coming up. 95.3 MNC.
WTRC FM.
And HD1 and HD3.
Niles, South Bend, Elkhart.
News Talk 95.3, Michiana's News Channel.
Your top stories right now.
A marathon impeachment debate. Lisa Brady, Fox News. Though the outcome isn't really in doubt in a House committee considering articles of impeachment, Fox's Jared Halpern is live on Capitol Hill.
The Judiciary Committee Democrats
Jury deliberated for almost 4 hours before delivering a verdict of guilty just about 30 minutes ago. 33-year-old Timothy Mayberry has been found guilty.
Dossier was in fact used by the
DOJ watchdog also fighting back at Democrats for down.
Republicans like Louisiana's Mike Johnson said the president has demonstrated a desire to put foreign aid in check. Since before he ran for president, he tweets about it all the time. I mean,
Closed Bleachers Sports Bar in Mishawaka. Then shots were fired and Brown was dead. Mayberry testified that an altercation broke out between the two in the men's room, and Brown punched him in the face, claiming it all during the 6 seconds before shots were fired. Mayberry testified that he never pulled the trigger and the gun never left Brown's hand. However, the jury found Mayberry guilty of murder as charged. After the shooting, Mayberry took off to South Carolina, where he was later picked up by U.S. Marshals months later. Coming up on ABC 57 News at 6, we'll hear from family speaking out just minutes after the guilty verdict was delivered. Live in South Bend, I'm Brenda Cookson, ABC 57 News.
New here at 5, the family of Eric Logan is now trying to intervene in the South Bend police chase case.
And the attorneys for the suspect shot and killed by an officer this summer want to hear what's really on those tapes as they accuse SBPD of systemic racism and using excessive force. ABC 57's Tana Kelly in court for today's hearing. The tapes, as you know, were recorded through wiretapped phone calls. Now, the Logan family's lawyer says they want to see the tapes because it might help in their federal civil rights case against the city.
We believe that they could be assistance or helpful with proving our 1983 claim, which is known as a Monell claim, to show that there's a pattern of practice in the South Bend Police Department of racial discrimination and other potential crimes that have been committed by police officers that have been covered up.
This comes after former South Bend Sergeant Ryan O'Neill fatally shot heartbreaking suspect Eric Logan in June. In a hearing today, the Common Council and the city's lawyers both took no side, but the judge voiced his concerns about a further delay in the already prolonged case.
I think there's always concern with judges with parties coming into cases. We want to see what has happened in this case. I know it's been going on for a long time. However, just because of a time limit does not mean that we should have no interest in this.
The judge will issue an answer by next week as to whether or not the Logan state may interfere in this case and see what is on those tapes. Now, coming up on ABC 57 News at 6, hear why the lawyers representing the police officers in the case are objecting to the motion. Reporting in South Bend, Tana Kelly, ABC 57 News.
And new details tonight on the efforts to revamp the Elkhart Police Department and win back public trust.
From day one, this process has been about transparency.
Outgoing Elkhart Mayor
Fire. Mayberry testified that he never pulled it and shots were fired and Brown was dead inside the now closed Bleachers Sports Bar in Mishawaka. Then shots were fired and Brown was dead. Mayberry testified that an altercation broke out between the two in the men's room and Brown punched him in the face. Mayberry testified that an altercation broke out between the two in the men's room and Brown punched him in the face, claiming it all during the 6 seconds before shots were fired. Mayberry testified that he never pulled the trigger and the gun never left Brown's hand. However, the jury found Mayberry guilty of murder as charged.
First warning forecast.
Mostly cloudy tonight. Temperatures falling back into the lower 30s.
Mayberry testified that an altercation broke out between the two in the men's room, and Brown punched him in the face, claiming it all during the 6 seconds before shots were fired. Mayberry testified that he never pulled the trigger, and the gun. The shooting, Mayberry took off to South Carolina, where he was later picked up by U.S. Marshals months later. Coming up on ABC 57 News Delivered. Live in South Bend, I'm Brenda Cookson, ABC 6.
This is now trying to intervene in the South Bend police tapes case.
And the attorneys for the suspect shot and killed by an officer this summer want to hear what
tapes, as you know, were recorded through wiretap tapes of emotion. Reporting in South Bend, Santa Kelly,
The salt, sludge, and
South
snow
Bend,
is
Santa
covering
Kelly,
your car, building up ice blocks in
Kelly,
your wheel well. Don't make winter any worse than it is.
Santa
Make regular visits to one of the
Kelly.
finest exterior auto
There's
washes
in the
in Parkwood Auto Spa.
on those
Located in
tapes.
South Bend, just east of Ironwood on Ireland Road, and Mishawaka off Edison Road. Open 7:30
Santa
a.m.
Kelly,
to 7:30 p.m., 7 days a week. And this holiday season is a perfect time to take advantage. Big savings are available with discount coupon books priced at buy 5 washes, get 3 free. Enough for you to have some for yourself and all those people on your list. Visit one of their locations or go to parkwoodautospot.com to purchase yours today and get your shopping done. And while you're there, download the
Because it
new
might
app
help
with
in their
new
federal
exciting
civil
things
rights
coming
case
in the
against
new year.
the
Keep your
tapes,
car
as you
happy
know,
and clean
were
this
recorded
holiday
through
season with Parkwood Auto
the
Spa's
tapes, as
buy
you know,
5,
were
get 3
recorded through
discount books.
wiretap phone
All
calls.
of their
Now, the
locations in
Logan
South Bend,
family's
Mishawaka.
lawyer says
Come
they
as
want
you
to
are.
see the tapes
Stay in your
because it might
car.
help in their
Hey, this
federal
is Jay
civil rights
Farner,
case.
CEO
The tapes,
of
as
Quicken
you know,
Loans.
were recorded
Quicken
through
Loans is celebrating
wiretap,
our best
recorded
quarter
through
ever,
wiretap
and now
phone
we're
calls. The
celebrating
tapes,
some of the lowest refinancing rates ever. Rates are
tapes
historically
were
low.
recorded
You
through
may be able
wiretap
to
phone
reduce your
calls.
rate and
Now,
save
the
money
Logan
on your
family's
monthly
lawyer
mortgage
says
payment
they
right
want to
now.
see the tapes
This
because
is
it
your
might help in their
chance.
federal
Pay
civil
off some
rights
credit
case
card debt
against the
or put some money towards that new bathroom
The
or
assistance
kitchen you've always
for
wanted.
helpful with
The rate today on our 30-year fixed rate
discrimination
mortgage
and
is
other potential
3.99%.
discrimination
APR
from health well.
4.18%.
This comes
That's
after
right,
former South Bend Sergeant
3.99%.
Ryan O'Neill
APR
fatally shot car
4.18%.
racing suspect
While we
Eric
can't predict
Logan
what
in
will happen in
June.
the future,
In a hearing
we do
today, the
know that
Common
rates have
Council and the
dropped,
city's
and now
lawyers
is the
both
time
took
to
no
save money
sides,
on
but
your
the
mortgage.
judge voiced
Call
his
us today at
concerns about a
800
further
Quicken
delay
or
in
go
the
to
already prolonged
rocketmortgage.com
tapes case.
to learn how
I think there's always
refinancing now
concern
may be
with
the right
judges
mortgage
with parties
solution
coming
for
into
you.
cases.
That's 800 Quicken or go to rocketmortgage.com.
Rates subject to change. Pay 1.375%.
Just because of a time limit does not mean that we should have no interest in this.
The judge will issue an answer by next week as to whether or not
From the final phase electric
Eric
studios,
Logan in June.
from
The
first
judge will
step
issue an
to the
answer
final
by
phase,
next week as to whether or not
commercial electrical done right.
the tapes were.
It's Casey Hendrickson on News Talk 95.3 News Channel. Your breaking news and weather station.
Good afternoon. Thank you for tuning in. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel. I am your host, Casey Hendrickson. Phone number 574-25-95-95.3. That is 2595-953. You can also send a text message to 45364. Please put MNC at the beginning of that message. All right. We are live streaming. And again, live streaming is at youtube.com/Casey the Host and twitch.tv/Casey the Host. You can also follow me on my brand new Twitter at RealKCH. We're trying to rebuild the audience there on Facebook at Casey the Host. Some of the text messages floating in here. Here comes the vegan stuff. Here we go. Casey, I think those vegan accommodation suggestions are perfect. It's just one more thing. Everybody who's there who helped me, a part of making these vegans feel included and wanted, should all get a participation ribbon. Casey, offer the vegans vegetables first, and then after they're done eating, let them know the veggies were cooked in bacon grease. I don't want anybody to sabotage the vegans. They can, look, let them consume what they want to consume. I don't run around pretending that that hamburgers are carrots and things like that, and they shouldn't run around pretending that carrots are hamburgers, even though they do it all the time. Casey, I love your rants. Appreciate it. Thank you. Let's see. Check out Finnish comedian Ismo's bit on vegans on YouTube. Probably won't look it up, but okay. It is probably okay to serve vegans first. They might be tasty. Unlikely. I would assume that they would probably taste like salad, but that's just me. Plus, they got a ton of soy in them, and soy is not good for you. All right, 574-25-95-95-3. That is 2595953. Did you see that they're trying to say that soy is now all of a sudden good again? You see that? And they're pretending that somehow soy was always considered bad. And that's not the case at all. That is totally untrue. Soy was considered the godsend food about 10 to 20 years ago. And you couldn't get away from it. You still can't get away from it. You look at all of your dishes now, the soy that is it's pretty much in every product you buy. And at the time when they were trying to espouse it as being healthy, the research showed that it was messing with the hormone levels of everybody. And now what they're saying is that it's not messing with the hormone levels of everybody, in spite of what the research says, because the research is, again, pretty clear. You can have it in small doses. Okay, there's nothing wrong with having it in small doses. By all means, have it in small doses. But the idea that you can replace all of your meat with soy or whatever else and you're not going to have any negative health effects from it is just preposterous. But I digress. All right, 574-25-95-95-3. There's a rumor out there that Notre Dame has a lot of money in their endowment. I don't know if that's true or not. I hear it's in the billions of dollars, by the way. Despite all the political rhetoric, let's be honest, tax increases have never produced a single job, not a one. This is true. Taxing the rich or middle class more and more has in reality cost many their jobs and even more a pay raise, all while reducing the amount of your take-home income. Because it's primary season, the candidates on the left are talking tough on taxing rich people as if they are an evil class, which they are not. Now, something else I would like to point out. If you take Elizabeth Warren's plans, was it $30 trillion is one of them or something like that? If you were to take away all of the money, the cash that the billionaires of the United States have, and then you were to take away their assets and everything else, you're at a fraction of 1% of the cost of her plans, okay? That is sucking out all of the rich people's money, their assets and everything. So, and that's for 1 year. 1 year. So not only does it not come close to covering the cost of the program, but it doesn't even come close for that first year. Not even remotely close. But they continue to spread the lie that you can do this, okay? And then we can get it from businesses too. No, you can't. What do you think is going to happen with the rich people who built these businesses and these corporations that they want to tax so much when they take away all of their money? What do you think they're going to do with it? Think it's going to still stay open? It's not going to stay open. Then people will be unemployed. It's going to be a whole cascading effect. This is Econ 101. But again, we're not dealing with the brightest people in the world. And a lot of them are not telling the truth about what they're going to do. They're just selling stupid people a whole host of lies in order to go and get elected. Then they're going to get elected and not do what they promised. And then people will be mad. So anyway, they have yet to talk about the richest of the rich, the one group so wealthy that changing tax policy or outright taxing them could literally solve millions of families' financial problems. College and university endowments, largely shielded from taxes by not-for-profit status as educational institutions, amount to hundreds of billions of dollars. It's the biggest tax scam in the world. It's got a point. Jonathan Trugman, what he's basically saying is, how come we don't tax the super ultra rich? Because the super ultra rich are sitting there with billions of dollars. Somebody on the live stream said that the last they heard, Notre Dame's endowment was $4.5 billion. Now, remember, when they tell you, public school versus for-profit school, the public schools make way more profits than the for-profit schools. But they say that it's not profit because it doesn't count. We're an educational institution. At the end of last year, U.S. families owed $1.5 trillion in student debt, while the well-endowed hoarded $617 billion, according to the research. The 10 largest of the 802 college endowments in the study held $217.7 billion at the end of 2018, or 35% of university endowment assets. So while you go to school, and I know Bernie Sanders was tweeting out about millennials today and saying millennials can't get ahead because the system's rigged against them and all that other nonsense. It's not. And there's a couple of issues with the millennial generation in not making it financially. One, too much student loan debt. Sorry, you went to school and you spent too much on school and you studied something that wasn't going to give you a return. That's on you. It's on nobody else. It sucks, don't get me wrong, but it's on you. The next thing is that we found that millennials make plenty of money to own a home, own a car, live comfortably, even paying off their exorbitant higher education debt. The problem is that they have to leave cities like New York and LA and Chicago and move to middle America in order to be able to afford those things. And they're choosing not to. So they're choosing to live in a place where their money doesn't go very far. And they're choosing not to live in a place where they could have all of the things that they complain that they don't have or can't get. And so that's according to the research now. And obviously there's going to be some fluctuations in that. But if you are a millennial, there's absolutely opportunities for you to own homes. I mean, you can own a house here for $50,000, $60,000, $70,000. It's not a great house, but you own it. And it gives you an opportunity to get some equity, sell it in a few years, do some fixing up, sell it in a few years, build equity, get a bigger house as a result of that. And, just do it that way. But a lot of them are choosing to stay in very expensive places where, a single bedroom or studio apartment is going to cost you way more money than you should ever be spending for one of those things. $2,000 to $5,000 for a studio, for crying out loud. But if you look at universities and how much money they have in their endowments, and then you look at those universities and the amount of student debt that those particular students, predominantly millennials right now, and that university could wipe out that debt, but they're choosing not to. And nobody seems to be mad at the universities for this. Remember, the universities set the price. Universities are the ones that are putting out degree programs that won't make you any money, recruiting you to go to school to study something that's never going to be beneficial to you, and then charging you an exorbitant amount of money to do it. Now, again, it's your choice, don't get me wrong. And that doesn't mean that you won't get a quality education in some aspects of that, but you're spending a lot of money not making yourself more desirable to an employer. Whereas that university is sitting on sometimes hundreds of billions of dollars or hundreds of millions of dollars and sometimes billions of dollars in endowments. They could wipe it out and they wouldn't even feel it. Each year, the national student debt goes up, and each year, the ivory tower economists watch their university endowment billions grow, tax-free. He's got an interesting point. If we really wanted to look at student debt relief, I guess the primary place that you would want to do that is with the universities, the ones responsible for student debt, wouldn't you? And those tax-free endowments that they have. If Notre Dame's endowment is about $4.5 billion, okay, if they are, that is a staggering amount of money that they will be able to go ahead and help a lot of people out just by paying some taxes on it. But God forbid they go after Amazon. Yeah, Amazon doesn't pay their taxes. First of all, they do learn the tax code, but they leave the universities alone, and nobody seems to complain about it. That's a lot of money just sitting there that nobody's taxing. You got more coming up. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel.
Casey Hendrickson.
News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel.
Your breaking news and weather statement.
Do they list the universities here? I want to see if they have the universities. Hold on a second.
Tuesday may have a few lake effect snow showers. We'll see a high around 30. In the ABC 57 First Warning Neighborhood Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Tom Coons.
The top news stories. Once I arrived in Kiev, I discovered a weird combination of encouraging...
Playing the errors laid out in his report. So how...
What's going on now is the single greatest scam in the history of American politics.
This was an abject failure for the Democrats and for Adam Schiff.
And he's not popular, and nobody should have the right to endanger whistleblowers.
News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel. Your breaking news and weather station. Now it's time for the taste of craft beer. Chris's Craft Corner with Chris Turnblom.
Welcome to Chris's Craft Corner. Let's have a beer. Today we're going to have a Great Lakes Christmas Ale. Now, this is Great Lakes Brewing Company's seasonal signature beer. They sell a wide variety of 15 different styles for mass release every year. This is available November, December, 2 months out of the year, and is their number 2 seller. They can't keep up with how much people want every year, and it is a phenomenal.
Looks like Conservatives are on course to win a majority in the UK, according to the exit polls, but it's just an exit poll.
Holiday-style beer. Breweries would add all kinds of different spices and flavors and sweet things like that to add medicinal properties. Of course, back then there were always
Yeah, Clinton Portis is in on that too, Daniel.
all kinds of things, or eat and drink all kinds of things to cure the common cold, essentially. So they would add honey, cinnamon, ginger, clove. That's kind of where those seasonal flavors came.
Daniel, put it up there. I didn't even see that. Sorry.
Making a beer with honey, whole cinnamon sticks, ginger root, all brewed right in together. And what they get on the other side is a beer that is in my personal top 10. Now we're talking fresh whole cinnamon sticks they just put right in, and it could not be any better. So this is a beer, again, been around for a long time, but still one of the best beers around that you can find. You've got to snatch it up quick because, like I said, people can't get enough of it, and it's not going to be around long. If you can find it, grab it, enjoy it, maybe save a little bit for later, but that sweet flavor for the holidays, and who knows, it might even help out if you're cold. This has been Chris's Craft Corner. Thanks for sharing a beer with me. Now go share one with someone else.
Look for the craft beers Chris talks about, and listen to Chris's Craft Corner on.
Yeah, they're not naming the institution specifically. They're just categorizing them. Interesting.
Across the ocean, this could be himself as a painter. And then my dad, he's been a painter for a lot of his life, and now I'm a painter. I love to paint, I really do. People are not a big fan of having their house work for a long period of time. That's why I think we come in and we have a larger room, so a bedroom or a great room is not taking us 3 days. We may be in and out in 1 day because we have that larger room. We have that ability to get in and out. People don't want us to tour up for a long time. It is all about cleaning too. I mean, a lot of people in the spring and in the fall, people repaint big rooms, bedrooms, bathrooms, just spruce it up and everything.
British Donald Trump just beat British Bernie Sanders. According to the exit polls.
If I put my name on the job, I want it to be a good product. It should last.
Come see the final show of the season at Amish Acres, the live musical performance of Beauty and the Beast. This classic musical masterpiece is the perfect family activity to enjoy over the holiday season. And for a limited time, you can still get 50% off your tickets at mydealsmichiana.com. Beauty and the Beast only runs until the end of December at Amish Acres. Don't miss out on your chance to see it with your family for 50% off. Get your tickets now at mydealsmichiana.com.
On 95.3 MNC.
Hey, good afternoon. Thank you for tuning in. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel. Once again, I'm your host, Casey Hendrickson. Phone number 574-2595, 95.3. That is 2595-953. You can also send a text message to 45364. Please put MNC at the beginning of that message. Do want to thank R&B Car Company, locations in South Bend and Warsaw. R&B Car Company are your used car experts. Back to the phone lines we go. Ella, welcome to the program.
Hi.
Hi there.
I'm a vegan, and I was listening to you talk about, like, Thanksgiving and holidays and whatnot.
Yes, and how rude vegans can be. Yes.
Yeah, and I mean, I agree with, like, both sides or whatever, but there's also, like, a stance against the environment. Mm-hmm. And I think being a vegan, I did it for the environmental reasons. Mm-hmm. But as a consumer, everything I put my dollar on is a vote. And so I think to go against animal products, you also are helping the environment. And I think that should be appreciated. And not necessarily.
But what about the large number of research that's been done that shows that a vegetarian diet is actually a net negative to the environment versus a standard diet? What about that stuff?
I haven't read too much research on that necessarily, but maybe this thing I've been looking at is biased. But I think that when you're growing a plant, it's helping the environment in a lot of different ways, whereas an animal...
So you're pro-global warming?
No, I'm completely against global warming. I understand,
but it grows more plants. Why would you be opposed to that?
No, I think growing more...
They're saying that. Yeah, they are saying.
Oh,
is what I'm saying. So if the planet warms, they're saying that that is actually good for trees and plant life and things like that. So
who said that?
It's actually Harvard did it. There's lots of research that talks about it. In fact, they're saying that as the planet is warmed, more and more plant life has become available. We have more trees now than we even thought we had before.
Oh, I guess I've never heard that research, but I don't necessarily agree with that. I just don't think that there has to be a negative outlook on veganism as like a...
I don't have... You can live your life any way that you want. And for whatever motivations that you want to have your diet, that's fine. But why on God's green earth would a vegan organization come out there with this sanctimonious rule thing, serve us first, don't have any meat there at all, accommodate us, coddle our feelings? Don't you think that's a little out of line?
Yeah, I wouldn't bring that to my family dinner.
Yeah, I mean, just that was my point. I don't care if you're vegan. I mean, we can debate the reasons and the merits of why you're vegan. I mean, I don't really care. It's your life. You live your life the way that you want. All I ask is that you let me live mine the way that I want. And this guide, which is put out there, is like, you know what? Your vegan relatives, they might be a little upset this holiday by seeing you murder a turkey, and we're not too happy about it. So why don't you just make sure that you go ahead and don't have the turkey and then serve all of us first? And then, I don't know, it just came off as a really, it came off as butthurt and petty is what it came off as.
Yeah, but I know, but I do like to get my food first because all the veggies are gone by the time I usually go. And I don't have
but see, Ella, you're the vegan.
Yeah.
You should bring the vegan plates.
I do bring them, but they're so good, everyone eats them.
Well, is that because all of your meat-eating relatives eat more than you?
Yeah.
So you've got to adjust your ratios. That's what we got to get at. Then you'll be okay.
All right. Well, I just thought it was such a negative outlook on vegans, and so I felt a little...
Well, it was less about the vegans. I didn't mean to attack the vegans and all of that. It was more about this stupid organization and their outlook on this. And then, as I kind of said, I get a little aggressive about this because of my personal experience with it. It does tend to come out because I've been in this position before where there's fights and there's arguments and there's also, how dare you even serve this stuff in our presence and all of that other stuff. It's just, I don't know. So a little bit of that probably came out, and that's probably what you're picking up on.
That's it. Also, interest rates on student debt really suck. So that's another part about the...
You know why?
Do
you know why, though? Because the government took them over.
I know. I know. And
like, what in the world? I know. I just paid them off in October of last year, and I was 39.
I know. I'm going to be there with you.
Yeah,
I'm 40.
You'll probably have. Well, hopefully you'll get it done pretty quick. There's a lot of people, especially younger, who have way more student debt than I had, and it took me all that time to get it paid off. It was awful, but I was so glad to get them out of there because the companies that deal with it too, they're allowed to abuse people. It's a whole horrible system. But if you're sitting there, if Notre Dame really does have $4.5 billion in endowments and that's tax-free, doesn't that kind of suck? Yeah.
Yep.
No subsidies for anybody. Everybody gets equally harassed by the government, if you ask me.
Yeah, it's the universities, though, as well, because they're the ones that, up the tuition every year. It's like, why?
Well, sure. Yeah. Look, it's a marketing thing. Okay. Think of universities as a gym membership. Most, a large chunk, depending on the university, a large chunk are not going to graduate, and they know that. So they design these really stupid degree programs where you can major in dumb things like American Idol. And I bring that up because there was a degree program at one point about American Idol. I don't know if it still exists. And you could go to school and you could study American Idol. That would be your college path, okay? Which isn't going to get you anything when you get out, but you'll have tons of debt and everything else, and you're likely not going to graduate, and they're still going to get their money for it. So what do they care? And they just keep upping the ante on this, and then the government took over the loans, and it's irresponsible. It's not fair what they're doing, but as a young person, you still, and part of this is going to maybe be not having an adult with the experience or the knowledge also, but getting into these contracts and saying, oh, I'm going to make tons of money because they told me if I go to college, I'm going to make more money. And that's not true.
No, you got to do more research.
Yeah. There's very few degree programs that are really worth it. And that's why every year I kind of do the worst degree programs and the best ones. And if people focus on those best ones, it may not be your big interest, but you'll always have a job somewhere. And then you can focus on doing what you like to do. And when things fall through, if they do, you have something to fall back on. I've got a nephew who's an accountant. He hates it. Hates it, but he makes really good money at it. And so he does that. That's his thing. And he's got his hobbies and whatnot to keep him sane, but he's always got a job. Doesn't matter where he goes. There you go. All right, Elle, I didn't mean to come off that way, but it does. It irritates me quite a bit. So.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Well,
take care.
Have a good holiday.
You
Bye.
too. You too. Bye-bye. All right, 574-25-95-95-3. That is 2595953. You can also send me a text message at 45364. Please put MNC at the beginning of that message. We got more coming up. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel.
This is Michiana's breaking news and weather station.
MNC. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel. At 95.3MNC.com.
I'm Tommy Lee in the MNC News Center, and among our top stories this afternoon, an independent review of the Elkhart Police Department is complete, and both the mayor and the chief say that they're pleased with the results. What the department found was that there are some things the Elkhart Police do well and some areas that need improvement. The review was announced in the wake of a use of force incident where a handcuffed suspect was physically assaulted by an officer. Police Chief Chris Snyder says that incident affected the review.
I can tell you that I have looked that over and that we have made some changes internally.
Hank Johnson's talking, huh?
Something like that from happening in the future.
That's good stuff.
Work with our de-escalation training, some of the training we've done with our supervisors, some of the equipment that we've deployed.
Yeah, Notre Dame is a private school too, 100%.
Oh, a fellow called up and said the Notre Dame figure is actually $9 billion, not $4.5.
$9 billion is what they're saying now? And I don't know that anybody officially knows what it is. And every time I've asked a Notre Dame employee, they just tell me billions. They don't tell me any specifics because I don't think they're allowed to.
What's your reaction to that? And
well, first of all, Mr. Horowitz's findings and report do show.
You know what, Blue? I did not read your message yet. I'm a terrible person. Let me go log in.
This is not the biggest scandal. This is, if not the biggest scandal in modern history, the biggest scandal in American history.
Oh, okay.
What he found in his report is that indeed.
All right, Blue, I just responded. Honestly, just surprised me. Thank you. Thank you so much.
This is, if not the biggest scandal in modern history, the biggest scandal in American history, period.
Guam is always about to tip over. It depends on the year. It just kind of bobs and weaves and stuff.
Is that indeed everyone who
I totally forgot to log in and look. I'm so sorry. But just honestly surprised me. I don't even care. Yes, thank you. 100%.
He certainly finds that major mistakes were happening along the way. What he shows what all of us.
9, holy cow! What's 9? Oh, 9. Oh, 9 billion. Yeah, that's what they're saying. Okay, I don't know.
He shows.
I gotta go back over on Twitch. I just closed it. All right, hold on.
This was all brought about for political purposes. To begin with.
Well, let's listen to the Inspector General.
He shows what all of us, many of us know already, that this was all brought about for political purposes.
That's all I know. That is all I know, Blue. That is all I know.
Some of the
I don't have like dimensions or anything. Boy, it sure seems like Indiana charges a heck of a lot more for car registration now.
Oh my gosh, you're kidding.
It's a lot more than just that few dollar wheel thing and a couple of dollars here. I mean, it's like my friggin' 2001 was $160 some odd dollars. That was the last question. Okay. All right. If you need me, you know where to find me. Casey, you can't resist being a dick to opposing views and wonder why opposite view politicians won't come on your show. You come off as butthurt and petty. Then why won't same view politicians come on
This is, if not
either?
the biggest scandal in modern history,
Cupcake.
the biggest scandal in American history, period. This is, if not the biggest.
What is going on in
scandal
Virginia with
modern
the Second
history.
Amendment?
This is, if
All
not
hell
the
is breaking
biggest
loose in Virginia.
scandal in
That's
modern history, the biggest scandal in American history, period. He shows what all of us, many of us know already, that this was all brought about for political purposes to begin with.
No, it's nothing compared to Nevada. Nothing compared. It's just it was an observation that it had really gone up over here. That's all.
Yeah, we got 3 cars we're doing.
Yeah. Oh, I missed an OK boomer. Well, when they write back, Alex, which they will, I will make sure I hit them with that because they will totally write back. Because they've been waiting for somebody to disagree with me on something. It's funny. You come off as butthurt. I don't think I've come off as butthurt, but they did. It's not being butthurt to tell people that it's pretty stupid to demand they serve you first. No. If you run out of vegetables every year, bring some more damn vegetables. $300 on your 2015 Ram. That's just it. Like, I want a truck, but God, I can't buy a truck that's like not rusted out. I've been looking. If you get into the $5,000 range, you can get really close to oh, sorry, distracted by the news story here. She gets smacked in the butt.
An altercation broke out between the two in the men's room, and Brown punched him in the face, claiming all during the 6 seconds before shots were fired.
Yeah, you can get really close to something that's at least okay, but it'd be a compact truck.
Never left
So
Brown's
it's just one of
hands.
those things.
However, the jury found Mayberry guilty of
Oh,
murder
shine
and
down
assault.
contest. Don't think I'm gonna see the boomer write me back. Oh well, things happen.
Right. This is Casey Hendrickson.
And good afternoon. Thank you for tuning in. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel. Once again, I am your host, Casey Hendrickson. Phone number 574-2595, 95.3. That is 2595-953. You can also send a text message to 45364. Please put MNC at the beginning of that message. Love watching the butthurt people try and say that I'm butthurt. Elkhart Police Study cites reputation for rough treatment, offers changes on discipline, use of force. That is the headline. Outside study of the Elkhart Police Department finally done. It was ordered by the mayor after a series of reports last year about the South Bend Tribune and ProPublica found that the force's reputation in the community had been tarnished by inadequate handling of discipline and the use of force. Of course, it was a very suspect report. We talked about how odd and strange how that report came about was. The study made public on Thursday credited outgoing Mayor Tim Neese for undertaking the review and noted that the city's police force is populated with dedicated public servants, yet it also found the department had developed a reputation for rough treatment of civilians and that discipline for misconduct had become almost non-existent in recent years. That rough treatment, by the way, is of suspects. From day one, this process has been about transparency, Neese said in the news conference, and transparency is what the public will continue to receive. By the way, tentatively, it looks like I'm going to have Mayor-elect Robertson on Monday. Should be in studio. The mayor said the report clearly identifies future opportunities and improvements, but also confirms Elkhart has many reasons to be proud of the Elkhart Police Department. I agree. I know several officers over there. They're great people. Neese ordered the study after reporting by the Tribune and ProPublica that included videotape beating of a handcuffed man who, by the way, spit at officers repeatedly. Just want to throw. Now, I'm not excusing it, okay? I'm just throwing it out there because context is important. And what's interesting is when that case happened, there was another very similar case. Somebody had been handcuffed and they spit on somebody, and that cop kneed him in the face and knocked him out. And it was. So this isn't exactly an isolated incident either. This happens quite frequently. Now, if you spit on a police officer on the street, you're going to get in big, big trouble. There's all sorts of assault charges that can go along with that. Depending on where you are and if you're sick, you can get felonious charges. While Elkhart's police force has long struggled with accountability going back to at least the 1980s, the news agencies found discipline plummeted starting in 2016 when former Chief Ed Weinbigler took office. Bless you, John. The outside study confirmed the recent lack of accountability, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So, a study also suggested the department look into whether racial bias contributes to a lopsided number of uses of force against black people, who comprise about 15% of the city's population, but accounted for about 40% of uses of force. Isn't it interesting that these studies never ask for you to study the demographics of those who are arrested for crimes or accused of crimes or convicted of crimes? They never ask for that aspect of it, which I think would be critical if you're going to look at racial bias among the police officers with how they handle suspects. Because if you find out that the use of force and the demographics of even contacts and arrests lines up with convictions and everything else, I think you're going to start to find that all of a sudden that narrative there of potential racial bias tends to go away. But if you only look at one aspect of it, you have all sorts of reasons to go ahead and throw in the narrative, if you will, into all of this stuff. So pretty interesting. But again, looking at having the mayor-elect, Rod Robertson, who will be taking office here in January, he's going to be on the program, looks like Monday, right before he goes out of town. So we're looking at having him on. Hopefully that'll end up being a regular thing. I would like to have him on regularly. We know that Mueller won't. Robertson is willing to come on. I appreciate that. So hopefully that'll be a regular hit. I've let them know that I would like it to be a regular hit because you can't always get one mayor on, obviously, but it would be nice considering Elkhart's impact on the area to have the mayor come in on a regular basis. So that'll be on Monday, it looks like. So tentatively, at least. We got more coming up. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel.
Casey Hendrickson.
News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel.
Your breaking news and weather station.
Weather served up by the Prime Table Restaurant in Niles. Does your family or group meet regularly for breakfast, lunch, or dinner? Just call the Prime Table to reserve tables for your next gathering.
Now, your home comfort experts heating specialist 5-day forecast.
Forecast is quiet to end the week, mostly cloudy, around 40 on Friday. Saturday, we could see a little rain or snow. We're talking drizzle or flurries with a high of 38. Then temperatures fall into Sunday. Sunday, mostly cloudy, 30, kind of quiet, and a lull through the first half.
Don't tell me they're out of veggies. Every party that has that dang tray with cauliflower and broccoli on it is there for the taking.
Morning. Tuesday may have a few lake effect snow showers. We'll see a high around 30. In the ABC 57 First Warning Neighborhood Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist.
He was handcuffed, yes. I thought I mentioned the handcuff part.
2019, and we're ending it with a bang. But with the impeachment effort in D.C. and Mayor Pete actually gaining some ground, at least the Sunburns, I'll bet that you have something to say about all of this as well. This is Casey Hendrickson. Let's get together on Friday, December 20th at high noon at Monterey Mexican Bar and Grill. Monterey's menu is the best this side of the border wall, and we have a few extra prizes because it's Christmas after all. The final Pass the Mic of 2019, Friday, December 20th.
So Britt McHenry is the lady who is making the accusations against Tyrus.
Against who?
Tyrus. I don't know who she is. I don't watch that platform.
There's a number of things we do, but I think the most important thing we can do is walk the client through from day one through the last day of the process. And certainly we're going to get the best results for them, but it's also all the stuff we do leading up to that point, helping you deal with each stage of the process. I'm not a doctor. I can't give medical opinions, and I don't give medical opinions, but I can give, hey, you know what, this is what other clients have done that has helped them. The one thing that's forgotten in the law is we're counselors. We're here to help and give advice based on not just the law, but all the things we've seen in our practice. And that's part of what I really try and do is sit down and face-to-face talk to my clients about this is what you need to do to help you through this process.
Listen, law offices in Elkhart. No gimmicks, no catchphrases, just exceptional representation, no personal touch. For more information, text the word listen to 45364 today. My name is Dave Titus with International RV in Elkhart, Indiana.
You know, one of the things that we see people that are really concerned with is whether they can actually afford an RV or not. They see these big things going down the road, and oh my gosh, I could never have one of those. And we have units that start at around $100 a month.
It's all about the fun. Sitting around the campfire with your wife in the evening, or with your kids, or taking that stroll on the
The
beach.
tapes were recorded through.
I thought I mentioned it, Al. I thought I did, but maybe I
lawyer
didn't.
says they want to see the tapes because it might help in their federal civil rights case against the city.
We believe that they could be assistance or helpful with proving our 1983 claim, which is known as a Monell claim, to show that there's a pattern of practice in South Bend Police Department of racial discrimination and other potential crimes that have been committed by police officers that have been covered up.
This comes after former South Bend Sergeant Ryan O'Neill fatally shot car-breaking suspect Eric Logan in June. The judge will issue an answer by next week as to whether or not the Logan estate may interfere in this case and see what is on those tapes. Hannah Kelly, ABC 57.
All right, gonna log out of the Twitter.
Absence of pain. Premiums at no charge.
You hear that story? Eric Logan, family wants.
Yeah, I saw it earlier today. I thought about talking about it, and I'm like,
it's a little convoluted.
it seems more like a newswheel type story than a topic type. Yeah, I did see it earlier though.
Casey, I can't tell you how satisfied I feel after putting that big sausage in my mouth.
I hear good things.
It was really good.
It was. No, sandwich was really good. I feel much better too.
I mean, I was able to focus, and I doubled the amount of news in our file for tomorrow.
Nice.
Which is great, because now's about the time of the day where I start to really fade.
I don't. You're probably right, William. I don't think I mentioned behind the back. But yeah, you're. It's amazing what a little food will do for you, right? Oh, Twitter's going to be hysterical tonight and tomorrow over this. If the Conservatives win, oh my God. It turns out being an anti-Semite still is a liability in England. Who would have thought?
Yeah, I should probably mention this since the online world is probably going to blow up and already is starting to. The exit polls, and again, they're just exit polls, but the exit polls are having the Conservatives in the UK winning this thing handily. So it'll be really interesting to see everybody's reaction tonight and tomorrow over all of this. Don't forget, don't forget to go to 953mnc.com, and you can also go download the MNC app in either the Android or Apple store. We don't have one in the BlackBerry store, right? Yeah, I didn't think we did. If we do, I don't know if we're supporting it. So good luck, BlackBerry folks. Anyway, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. If you want to follow me online, at Casey the Host on YouTube, on Twitch, and on Facebook. And then if you want to follow my new Twitter, at RealCaseyH. RealCaseyH. Trying to build up that new Twitter platform. It is now time for Bill O'Reilly and the O'Reilly Update. Have a good night.
I did it again. I was thinking 50.
I
was thinking 49.50. I totally did it again. I've done it a couple of times.
Don't worry about it. You know what? I think I threw you off because I didn't mean to start the music as early as I did.
It seemed a little early, but then I was having throat problems.
It was way early. I'm sorry about that. My bad.
All righty. Science says Christmas music is bad for your mental health. I can get behind that because Christmas music straight up sucks.
I think it's kind of depressing.
I friggin' hate Christmas music.
I think a lot of it is like really depressing.
Well, you've got a point because it's really slow and kind of dark, and very few Christmas songs are really upbeat. So,
all right, I am good to record your writer.
And I know a lot of people get suicidal every time Mariah Carey opens her mouth.
Oh my gosh. I like that song. That's actually
I'm just, I didn't say that I didn't. I said I know a lot of people get suicidal over it. That's all. All right, hold on. Let me pull up some stuff. Mm-hmm.
Oh, holy night.
Got it. Casey Hendrickson here. Remember that fake university that I set up to deport immigrants? Yeah, they're responding to those allegations. That's Friday on 95.3 MNC.
Got it.
Oh, fudgicle. Especially Christmas music before Thanksgiving. Amen to that. God, it was so early.
Yeah, who does that?
Casey Hendrickson. Bruno at Perbaco.
And my wife.
We were in there before Thanksgiving. He's got Christmas decorations up. He's playing Christmas music. I'm like, dude, what are you doing? He's like, I love Christmas. I'm like, this is not right, man. It's not okay. Yeah, a lot of Christmas music sounds like funeral stuff. Yeah, that makes sense. All right. I got to bounce out of here, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for watching. I do appreciate it. If you hadn't hit the like button, please do. And if you haven't followed me on Twitter at the new account at RealKCH, please do that as well.